Correspondent Mark Smith has the details on the controversial study.
In the view of White House advisor John Podesta, this massive compendium of the scientific evidence not only proves the case beyond all doubt, it makes clear climate change isn't a future worry, it's now.
Look out your window and you'll begin to feel the effects.
The report details drier droughts, more intense storms, and rising sea levels that U.S. communities are already dealing with. But its charts and graphs also bear some modest good news. Slowing consumption and rising use of cleaner energy mean America is contributing less to the global problem. Mark Smith at the White House.
Several states are holding midterm primary elections today. Correspondent Jerry Bodlander reports on the start of the 2014 campaign season.
The Senate primary in North Carolina is the first of several that pit the GOP establishment against the Tea Party. Tom Tillis, who was endorsed by Mitt Romney, has the establishment backing. Tea Party favorite Senator Rand Paul is backing Greg Brennan. There are 6 others in the field, and Tillis hopes to get 40% of the vote so he can avoid a runoff and turn his focus to incumbent Democrat Kay Hagan. There are also primaries in Ohio, where Speaker John Boehner faces a pair of challengers, and in Indiana. Jerry Bodlander, Capitol Hill.
The American Legion says it wants Veteran Affairs Secretary Eric Shinseki and 2 of his top aides to step down. Shirley Smith has reaction to the latest VA scandal.
The call for resignations comes amid an investigation into allegations of corruption and unnecessary deaths at the Veterans Hospital in Phoenix. American Legion National Commander Daniel Dellinger says they were the result of poor oversight and leadership failures. The Phoenix Hospital's been under fire over allegations that up to 40 patients may have died because of delays in care. Dellinger says he thinks there needs to be a change and that it should occur at the top. I'm Shirley Smith.
U.S. House members visiting Cuba have met with an American government subcontractor who is serving a 15-year prison sentence. Correspondent Carlotta Bradley has the story.
New York Congressman Gregory Meeks says they want to confirm Cuba's interest in negotiating with the U.S. over Alan Gross's imprisonment.
Both sides seem to indicate that if they felt that there was no preconditions, that they'd talk.
California Congressman Sam Farr says the lawmakers hope to unfreeze relations.
You have to have leadership on both sides willing to come to the table.
Also on the trip, House members Emanuel Cleaver of Missouri and Barbara Lee of California. I'm Carlotta Bradley.
The U.S. Supreme Court says town meetings can now begin with a prayer. Jerry Bodlander explains why this ruling is so important.
In a 5-4 ruling, the justices said the upstate New York town of Greece does not violate the Constitution when it begins its meetings with a prayer that routinely stresses Christianity. Alliance Defending Freedom represented the town, and senior counsel David Cortman said opening meetings with a prayer is a tradition.
We're certainly thrilled that the Supreme Court has once again not only affirmed Americans' freedom to pray, but to pray without being censored.
Americans United for Separation of Church and State condemned the ruling, saying the religion of the majority could not be forced on anyone attending a public meeting. Jerry Bodlander, Washington.
The First Lady helped open a $40 million expansion of the Metropolitan Museum's Costume Institute in New York. Warren Levinson has the highlights.
A boatload of top designers showed up for the ribbon cutting at the Metropolitan Museum of Art's new Costume Center, named for Vogue magazine editor Anna Wintour. Calvin Klein, Oscar de la Renta, Carolina Herrera, Donatella Versace, Marc Jacobs. First Lady Michelle Obama was there as well, declaring the center might lure young people in because they're interested in clothes.
Then they'll learn that fashion isn't just about what we wear, but that fashion is also a business. It is an art.
Mrs. Obama, wearing a forest green silk dress by Naeem Khan, said she and Anna Wintour have been working to bring students to the White House for a fashion workshop. Warren Levinson, New York.
And that's the news for Radio VR in Washington. I'm Kate Zickel.
And I'm Rick Young.
Radio VR. This is the voice of Russia.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Here, we see a robin rip a worm out of the ground with no moral hesitation whatsoever. This atrocity is but one in a series of cold-blooded murders this bird will commit in a single day. Although feces-fueled worms are themselves one of the most disgusting of all animals, the robin's cruelty remains indefensible. Some apologists might argue that robins need to eat worms to survive, but worms are capable of regeneration. So robins could satiate themselves on fractions of individual worms and leave the rest. But it does not. Unequivocal evidence of the robin's bloodlust.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Just dial on in toll-free here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us online. Just drop on by freetalklive.com and enjoy the features waiting for you on the website. Once again, that's freetalklive.com. Also, we have Skype. You can Skype into the show, get on the air with us that way. You do have to send us a contact request first. You can easily do that by sending that request to the username, lrn.fm. With you in studio, Ian here.
Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
All right, so, boy, there's so much to talk about today. It's hard to really know where to start. Here's a crazy police raid story. We've talked so much in the past about police and how common police raids are on people's homes. The SWAT teams were created with the intention of being used in extreme circumstances. The idea being that somebody's got a hostage situation, it's a bank robbery or something like that. Some sort of situation where human life is on the line. That was the idea behind SWAT raids. They've since expanded, as government programs tend to do, growing far beyond their original intentions. They, of course, acquire more weapons and more armor and more vehicles and helicopters, and the police love their boy toys.
The drug war's got to be the biggest use of SWAT teams nowadays, right?
And yeah, it's definitely the drug war for sure, and that has been the major excuse for the expansion of the idea of SWAT and what it can be used for. But it's not always drugs. Sometimes they'll use them to raid a gambling operation or something like that. So it's gone far afield from the original intentions of only dealing with violent people to just raiding all kinds of people for all manner of ridiculous things. I remember we heard somebody got raided over unpaid college loans. More than one person allegedly has been raided for that. But
wasn't there an unreturned library book?
Sounds believable. I don't recall that story personally, but I'm sure you can dig around and find.
She was either arrested or raided, and I can't remember which.
There's all kinds of ridiculous stories. And, of course, in many of these raids, people's dogs get shot and killed. The cops will sometimes be coming into people's homes in late hours of the morning. You got the situations where they're living in a bad neighborhood. They think that it's people that have, they're coming in to rob them or something like that, and they'll shoot, and then there's gunfire traded, and sometimes the cops end up dead, and the person who shot them ends up in prison. And then sometimes the person who's in the house ends up dead, and all of it over drugs.
Police work attracts thrill seekers and the type that want to control others. That's what the police do. They control people, and you don't ever want anybody who likes doing that job. The job doesn't need to be done. We can, we're adults, and civilization is advanced enough to where we can deal with each other, and we don't need rulers.
Well, I get where you're coming from, Johnny Ray, but there's a point to be made that in an armed hostage situation, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have some experts who know how to handle a situation like that, right?
Right, but so many people who join the police are like Barry Cooper, who would leave the handcuffs a little loose so that he would get a chance to tackle somebody. So many police officers live for that, and if they don't have a good reason to bust down somebody's door and invade their home, then
they'll make one up.
Exactly.
No, I totally understand where you're coming from. It's just that we're probably not going to get to a total voluntary society anytime soon. So just having the existing police stop drug raids, I think, would go a long way to improving people's safety in their own homes. But
the good has always been the enemy of the perfect in my world.
the absurdity of these raids has now, I don't know if this is the most absurd story I've ever seen, but it's probably in the top 5 as far as police raids. Stories out of the New York Post. He's been dead for 8 years, but try telling that to the New York Police Department. Cops have barged into James Jordan Sr.'s family home looking for him more than a dozen times since he died in 2006.
I hope he's
like
in an
twice a
urn
year.
on a shelf there at the house.
Prompting his exasperated relatives to finally post his death certificate on the front door. I tell them over and over, James isn't here. He's dead. It's that simple. What's so difficult to understand about that? The Brooklyn security guard's widow, Karen, told the Post on Monday. James Jordan Sr., who died from diabetes at age 46, it's pretty young.
Wow.
Was last arrested in 1996 for turnstile jumping, said Karen Jordan, who has filed a lawsuit against the city in Brooklyn federal court.
He's a dangerous man. No wonder they're doing the raids.
But cops still routinely ransack the family's Bushwick home on Sumner Avenue, demanding to see him, coming 4 times this year alone, said Jordan. The widow finally taped his death certificate to the door, saying that
She should have it framed there so that way. I mean, she's going to need this thing in the future. She shouldn't tape it.
I wanted it to be the first thing they saw before they came into my home and flipped it upside down. I can't hide anyone in my apartment. It's not big enough for that. But they keep coming and insisting that he's in my house. Jordan said she's mystified by the NYPD's apparent obsession with her late spouse because he had such a minuscule criminal history. Law enforcement sources said Jordan Sr.
He's at the top of some list, like some way that they have of organizing their list. Whatever that is, it's obviously not alphabetical.
Maybe they want to send a message to all the turnstile jumpers.
Well, 8 years ago?
No, I like what you're saying, Mark. They've just got this list, and they start it, and they don't finish it, and then they start over again.
It's just keep on hitting this poor guy up. She's just lucky her last name isn't Aardvark.
Jordan said she's mystified by their obsession with her late spouse because she had such a minuscule record. Apparently had 3 sealed arrests in 1996. And I don't know what being sealed means. Does that mean that
he's a terrorist?
Well, wouldn't a sealed arrest mean that it was somehow wiped?
I don't know.
Maybe because if you get arrested, he was 46 in 2006. So he was definitely not under 18 or anything like that. I mean, if you get arrested and then you, for whatever reason, come to some sort of plea agreement where...
Yeah, I guess that could get it sealed, right?
You seal the records. Anyway, so it sounds to me like they weren't that serious. I mean, if it was serious murder or rape or something like that, they probably wouldn't have sealed them.
That wouldn't be sealed.
So he was a hardworking man. He took care of 8 kids, said the widow. It isn't right for them to be coming after him like this. There's no reason for it. Jordan said the NYPD visits leave their home a wreck. They'll tell me to be quiet or they'll lock me up. So they go through my entire house, turning out drawers, looking in closets, harassing my children.
Drawers.
And asking them terrible questions. I'm at my wit's end, she said, adding that she also keeps the death certificate at the ready right next to the door on a dresser. Jordan's son,
how many of these does she have?
James Jr., who's 31, said officers rushed into the apartment in July and arrested him when he told them his name. I told them that my father was gone. They just didn't believe me. When they came in like a riot team. It was like a raid. 6 officers rushed into the apartment and woke me up. Jordan Jr. and a pal were hit with weapons possession charges that were later dropped. Family attorney Ugo Uzo says in the suit he has no other criminal history. My dad's spirit is here, but you can't arrest his spirit. I just want my dad to rest in peace. Even when you're dead, you still get harassed.
God.
The city's law department declined to comment.
Does their Department of Incompetent Boobs, did they have anything to say?
I mean, this is so insane. I'm just shocked by the bureaucratic callousness here. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be shocked that they could be so incompetent to have not taken this man when presented with a death certificate, that they could somehow not take this guy out of the system, whatever crazy system it is that is sending the police to this man's house over and over again. I want to know, are the same officers involved every time? They've been raided 4 times this year.
There are a lot of officers there, so I suspect
But who's
not.
heading this up? There's got to be some sort of commanding officer that is sending these guys out, or is it just a rogue squad of agents that's decided to harass dead people's families?
No, it's so strange.
That's all you got. I mean, that's all there is to the story. I presume they're going to be back.
They probably are, unless they hear this show where people are just making fun of them. What's the news source for this?
And the New York Post.
Well, thank goodness it's in the New York Post. That might actually get something done.
I don't know. It's
this
just
poor
shocking.
family having to employ this lawyer to protect them in some way. They hired a lawyer.
Just move out of the house, I guess, at this point.
They might have it rent controlled. This is one of the problems with New York City.
Yeah.
So, they can't go someplace else. They have to stay.
More coming up here. Well, you don't have to stay, right? But they just maybe wouldn't get as good a deal elsewhere, right?
Yes.
More coming up here. You can share your thoughts. 855 450 free. I don't know if there's any explanation for this madness just besides bureaucratic insanity.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-888-535-2965. 1-888-535-2965. That's 1-888-535-2965. 1-888-535-2965.
Adam Miller here with Midas Resources. Today, April 21st, 2014, gold opened at $12.98.80. A 1-ounce gold coin can be purchased for $13.46, $6.73 for a half ounce, or $3.36.50 for a quarter ounce. That's $13.46, $6.73, and $3.36.50.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? Wait a sec. Gold and silver is going up while Congress is trying to settle on the next debt increase. And there's no end to this madness. That old 401k and IRA can be converted into physical gold without tax consequences. I explained this in my book, 10 Reasons to Buy Gold. Don't let time slip away. Call for your free copy today, 800-686-2237. Get away from that Washington spin and get honest answers about gold. 800-686-2237. The book is free, 800-686-2237.
If you are like most people, chances are you're malnourished. Most people do not get the 90 essential nutrients the body needs to survive. This lack of nutrition can lead to all sorts of health issues. If you don't feel as good as you'd like, or if you're looking to get a jump start on a new, healthier you, Youngevity has your answer. With the Healthy Start Pack, you get all the nutrients your body needs. With all 90 essential nutrients and 115 fruits and vegetables, you get a supplement system that is antioxidant rich and beyond compare. The Healthy Start Pack includes products backed by 40 years of science and millions of dollars in research, like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, EFA Plus 90, and OsteoFX Plus. To order your Healthy Start Pack today, call 607-739-5595. Again, that number is 607-739-5595. Once you start taking the Healthy Start Pack, you will see and feel why our motto is 90 for life.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate, well, I know a guy who's really great. It's the realtor Mark Warden. Do you want a home with 20 acres, a lakeside cabin, any takers for renters, buyers, and sellers too? Mark Warden is the guy for you. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
up anything and do it toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Mother's Day is coming up, and coming up fast, but it's not too late for you to get something for her, or maybe not your mom, maybe your wife. You want to get her for something.
That's wise.
Yeah, sure. Berries.com.
Frankly, sister who has children, all the female relatives that have what do they call them, vulviparous female relatives, you want to get them something.
Here is how you can do it all in one place. Berries.com. BERRIES.com. You go there and you can order an amazing gift that I'm a huge fan of this product. It's delicious, mouth-watering, fresh, juicy, big, like huge strawberries coated with chocolate. There's white chocolate, dark chocolate. There's milk chocolate, and they're also coated in chocolate chips, decorative swizzle, as well as nuts. You can get several of these strawberries for just $19.99, over 40% savings from their regular price. You can also double the berries for just $10 more. By clicking the microphone in the upper right-hand corner, you get all these offers and more, by the way. There's plenty of other little combos. Like you can even get flowers and berries together from Sherry's Berries, which is awesome. So just type in the code FTL when you click the mic in the upper right-hand corner at berries.com. You get those deals, and that's BERRIES.com. Click the mic, type in FTL, get your Mother's Day shopping taken care of. And if your mom's never had Sherry's Berries before, she will likely want to have them again, because I know if she's anything, like anyone who's ever had these,
anybody that we've ever
Sherry's
had.
Berries. So berries.com, click the mic in the top right, type in FTL to get the deals. All right, so 855-450-FREE. We started with one police raid story about how the police in New York are apparently raiding a couple's home over and over again in search of a man who's dead, despite being shown a death certificate. We go from the absurd and outrageous to the scary and outrageous. Johnny Ray, you've got a story.
Yeah, outrageous and horrifying. One killer cop, one black bag job, one terrified wife. The ordeal of Patrice Touton. Patrice Touton is convinced that her estranged husband, a soon-to-be disbarred Los Angeles attorney named Mark Touton, intends to kill her. Her adult son, Jonathan, is convinced that she is right. I am extremely worried for the safety of my mother, my brother, my sister, and myself, wrote Jonathan in an April 29th letter to the California Bar Association. I personally have witnessed him beat my family members, abuse drugs, and threaten to kill people. If he has not stopped, then he will kill one of us. It's just a matter of time. Sidebar, I saw a video, they linked to a video in here of Mark Touton menacing his wife with a knife.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like stabbing her. He's stabbing her personal effects and ripping up the furniture with a knife, and then he sees her filming and he comes over. He's not happy about it.
Wow. Wow.
Well, now wait a minute. This guy's an attorney. Did you tell me off the air he was a prosecutor?
I did tell you that.
Or just an attorney.
I told you he was a prosecutor. I'm not sure that that's necessarily the truth, though.
Okay.
He's a disbarred Los Angeles attorney.
Now, as an attorney, shouldn't he know that there's going to be consequences for his actions? I mean, if anybody knows anything about the system, it's got to be an attorney, right? Like, aren't these punitive punishments that defendants are given across the country, aren't these supposed to be effective at stopping crime, at preventing crime? The idea that you'll go to jail, buddy. Isn't that supposed to stop people? Shouldn't a lawyer know better than anyone else about that?
Yeah, well, it's a little different when you're a lawyer because you're in the system. So all the people who are supposed to be taking you down, they're all your friends and your coworkers. So often it just doesn't work out that they pay the same consequences that the rest of us do.
We'll get some more backstory on what's happening there. And where was the location of this?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. All right. Let's go first, though, to Richie in Utah, listening to KZNU in St. George. Hey, Richie.
Hi. How you doing today?
Great. You're on the air.
I was listening to you talk about how the SWAT teams have got out of control.
Yes.
And I just wanted to tell a story that happened up in Clearfield, Utah, about 16 years ago, though. But it's a story that relatively goes with what's going on right now. And it begins with my brother must have did something wrong. I don't know what, for sure, so I won't say. But anyway, a SWAT team came from Clearfield, Utah, and what they did was they shot our family dog. They all came in a big black truck. They got out with SWAT on there. They shot the dog. My sister was sitting on the porch. She was like 14 years old. To this day, she's traumatized. She doesn't even know how to relate to this situation. But anyway, they were looking for my brother, and they did all that. My brother wasn't there, hadn't been there for quite a while, and there was about 6 of my sister's friends and I sitting around the table. They proceeded to check everybody's pockets and empty out everything, saying that they were drinking underage because I had a glass of wine. I was plenty of age. I was probably like 30 then. So anyway, they didn't charge anybody with anything. Nobody had anything, but they took me to jail, and they took my sister to jail that saw the whole thing. And so when we
How did they take you to jail and not charge you with anything?
That's the thing. I don't know. We still don't know why they took my sister to jail, except for she was very traumatic, having watched the dog get shot by these big black guys come out in their machine guns at the house. But me, I look like my brother a lot. We're very close, but there's got to be, let's see, I think he's 37 and I'm 55.
Okay.
But he looks like, we look alike, kind of.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they thought I was there and I was him at the time or what, but I was only there visiting from Minnesota. I live in Utah now, St. George, and I have for 17 years. But
So they took you into the police station, and then at what point did they cut you loose?
It was like 12 hours later, and we had told them already that I wasn't my brother, and they never, I don't remember them ever telling my sister why she was detained, but I believe she was hysterical and that they detained her for that, because she, at that 14 years old an age, seeing a large van pull up saying SWAT and seeing guys in black uniforms come out with machine guns, shoot the dog without any questions or without any explanation.
That's traumatizing at any age. I mean, I don't care.
I think that his hysterics is probably the only sane reaction to that.
Now, the dog, I mean, just give me a little more information about this, because we've seen so many videos, so many stories that didn't have video. Was the dog rushing the police? Was it trying to bite at their legs? What was the dog doing prior to being shot to death?
No, the dog is very well trained. I have a dog very similar right now. For instance, it will never go out of this yard ever. Now, it may follow me out to the yard, but it would never go out of the yard. But anything that comes close to the yard, and it's, by the way, it's not a pit bull or a Rottweiler. It's a German Shepherd Collie mix.
Okay.
So it wasn't a threatening dog at all, but it definitely, when things would come around the yard like a SWAT team or something, would bark relentlessly probably at them.
Well, we can't have that. We're just going to have to put it out of its life. Hey, thank you, Richie. I appreciate hearing from you. I'm sorry that happened, and thanks for sharing your story tonight. These dog shootings have touched so many lives. More on the way. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a special news alert to consumers who owe back taxes to the IRS.
Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers on back taxes, resulting in back taxes reduced by thousands of dollars. An open phone line has been established by Federal Tax Relief for consumers to call and see if you qualify for this reduction. To ensure your financial stability during this decline in the economy, take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-210-1349. That's 1-800-210-1349. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, there's no need to fear anymore. The IRS is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers, resulting in tax debts reduced by thousands of dollars. For your free information and to see if you qualify for your reduction, call the Federal Tax Relief Hotline, 1-800-210-1349. 1-800-210-1349. That's 1-800-210-1349.
Free Press Publications is an independent alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary at fpp.cc, as well as weekly news in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com. The monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc and books at shop.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Aren't you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Well, stop using their money. There's an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government, and by using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. Find out about giving to our Google AdWords campaign at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
It's Free Talk Live. We invite you to take control of the airwaves here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us via Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM, so feel free to do that. And don't forget to check out freetalklive.com. ProXPN brings you the phone lines here. It is a global virtual private network. You can get started and get the ProXPN software to protect you online. ProXPN.com/FTL is their website. One of the first things they're going to do is encrypt your data. That's the main function of ProXPN software, to encrypt your data connection both in and out from your computer, so everything that passes through your internet service provider is untouchable, unreadable. The ISP will have no clue what it is that you're doing online when you're using ProXPN. Right now, your internet service provider is likely logging everything that you do, every website you visit, every search term that you enter for up to 5 years. So you can stop that from happening by going to proxpn.com/FTL, downloading the software for Windows, Macintosh, iOS devices, or Android devices. Linux users, there's some alternative instructions you'll need to get from their support staff, but it's pretty simple to get started with Linux. So you don't get tracked, you don't get spied on with ProXPN. In fact, they do not keep records of your online habits at ProXPN. Plus, with their premium account, you get unlimited bandwidth and the ability to select different servers around the world. Plus, you can privately torrent with ProXPN. You get it all with a risk-free 7-day money-back guarantee. ProXPN.com/FTL. And remember our discount code when you're ready to sign up for the premium package. The code is FTL20. That saves you 20% off the price of their premium account. And if you buy their annual plan, that breaks the price down to $5 per month, which you can save even more on that annual plan if you pay with Bitcoin. ProXPN.com/FTL. Code FTL20. As we go to Mike, he's in Oregon. You're on Free Talk Live. More about the psychotic lawyer here in a moment. Mike, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
Hey Mike, what's on your mind?
Well, just want to let you know about something. I had my windows tinted today finally. I've been waiting since 2000 to have my windows tinted, and when I was living back in New Hampshire,
quite a wait.
I'm sorry?
That's quite a wait.
Oh, yeah. I took on a very huge task, and I actually tried to, when I was working for the Liquor Commission in New Hampshire, I was trying to change the New Hampshire window tint law. And currently in New Hampshire, it is illegal to tint anything to the left and right of the driver at all. Yep. And I thought this is very, unjust, and it's like, boy, this isn't fair. And, New Hampshire was one of 6 states that is not allowed to have anything to the left and right of the driver. But out of those 6 states, on the back doors and rear window, you could only go 35%, whereas the other states you could go as dark as you want. And I said, this is not right. So I said to myself, I'm going to try to go about changing this law. And of course, this is before the Free State Project and all that sort of thing. So I decided to write up a letter, and it took me 5.5 years to do a 5-page letter. And I went to one of the representatives who lived in Plymouth, and she said, Mike, you have a very solid case here, and the trick is to getting the Department of Safety to try to actually see it your way. I guess there's this guy named Earl Sweeney, and he's the state, and how they act.
Oh, yeah. The Department of Safety is essentially the state police.
That's what they are, yep.
Yes. Yep. And so basically a few days after I read her the letter, I received an email from her, and she said, Mike, your bill is going to be at the legislative office at 10 a.m. on January 17th of 2006. And if you actually go to Google and you type in HB 1211 tinted glass, the first hit that will come up will say New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, and that is the bill that I tried to get in to change the tint law. Mm-hmm. And I got down there and I, read a condensed version of my 10-page letter, and then after I made my statement, then Earl Sweeney comes in and, he shuffles in and he said, this is going to be an added danger to our state troopers at nighttime, blah, blah, blah. And one of the women who was sitting on the panel said, Mike said something about the spotlights from cruisers being able to shine through the 35% tinted back doors. And she said, not during the day. And, of course, that was a stupid statement because it didn't make sense. You got up and left, and that was it. And after 5.5 years of trying to change that tint law, a very oppressive law, like most laws are oppressive, I failed. And it was very frustrating. I never wanted to go through something like that again. So
I don't blame you, man. I mean, that's it's expected when you go into the political process. It's usually going to fail. It takes time. It takes multiple tries in a lot of
it really does.
Cases.
That's one of the things is that these ideas, in almost every case, I don't know what it's like in around the country, but in New Hampshire, in almost every case, a new bill is going to get shot down. You have to have the fortitude, emotional fortitude to sort of stick with these things over time. And that's why having many activists, like the Free State Project does, is really important, because when one's tired, as you were, dejected, worn out, sick of it, somebody else can pick up the
we're not to that point
it.
yet, Mark. I mean, we're still No, we're still pretty early on in this thing. It's on some issues, like with cannabis. Yeah, somebody else picked up the ball on that one. But
well, not the one he's talking about. I'd love for people to do this, but not every bill has enough people.
Right. I just don't want to make it. I don't want you to make it sound like if you drop the ball, someone else will pick it up. Not always. It depends on the level of interest in what's happening. And we need thousands more movers here before it's likely that someone will pick up the ball. For instance, Daryl, who's our co-host on Friday nights, he's the one who put forth the bill that proposed to radically make it better for third parties. Right now, it's insanely difficult for third parties to get on the ballot in New Hampshire. And his proposal was to make it equal, to make it the same requirements that Republicans and Democrats have to get on the ballot. Of course, the Elections Committee didn't care about that. They voted to take that bill off the table.
This is a terrible idea. Yeah. We're all Republicans and Democrats.
And, the only people who came out to support Daryl on that were me and I think David Crawford, one of the other local activists. So, it wasn't like even the Libertarians came out to speak. So we're still on a fairly early process here in the Free State Project. There's a lot more organization that needs to happen and a lot more movers. But what did you end up leaving for, Mike? You're now in Oregon.
Well, when it was about 2 months after we met at the party up in Lincoln, I had moved because my girlfriend lives out here.
Oh, okay.
And we met online. And
I know who you are. You're the guy who worked at the liquor store. Yeah. So Mike was the guy who I met at our publicist's party, Mark, and he was telling me that he would let me into his liquor store, considering he'd heard I was banned from every state liquor store. So you moved out for the lady. Well, that's good. That's an important thing to do.
I felt so horrible what they did to you guys, because I saw the Shire choir singing, and then I saw them deliver the notice to you, and I felt so bad. I'm like, you know what? And I had an axe to grind with the Liquor Commission. I mean, I worked, for those guys for 12 and a half years, and part-time, and I went for 25 interviews to get full-time. And, I wanted a life in New Hampshire, and I'll tell you, they didn't put me on full-time, and I'm like, it's time to move on. I just and one of the things that got
it's got to be a really choice assignment and highly sought after, full-time employment with the Liquor Commission.
Yeah,
I guess you probably would get some bennies out of that. So, Mike, hopefully we'll see you back here because that's the kind of energy that we need. And I understand that when you're doing it all alone, it's easy to just expend it all and feel so frustrated by the system. It is a frustrating system. Even here in New Hampshire, it's still unwieldy. It's still slow. It's still plodding and inefficient, but at least there's a chance here. At least you can actually introduce your own piece of legislation. I mean, that would have been impossible in any other state, to actually contact a legislator and get them interested in introducing legislation. I thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I mean, you can't just call up a legislator where you live and talk to them, let alone get them to introduce the language of the bill that you've written. Does that happen in other places? Sure didn't happen in Florida that I knew of. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-970-6156. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-970-6156 now.
Imagine an acne treatment breakthrough that even Proactive says is better than Proactive. Announcing all new Proactive Plus, the revolutionary new way to clear your skin from the #1 name in acne care. Proactive Plus is our best, most effective solution ever. And when you call 1-800-721-4255 today, you can have it tomorrow. Proactive Plus is the modern acne miracle that treats your skin beautifully. The plus means more. More precise, targeted medicine for faster, gentler acne prevention. And more skin-loving solutions so your complexion can look bright and beautiful.
I am just so happy with Proactive Plus. I don't think my skin has ever looked this good.
Call 1-800-721-4255. Be one of the first to try Proactive Plus. Guaranteed 100% risk-free. You won't see this limited time offer on TV. It's a radio exclusive. 1-800-721-4255. 1-800-721-4255.
Copblock.org/pivothead. To ensure that a record of the truth of police interactions exists and is accessible, we each need a film. That's why we're happy to announce the Accountability Through Transparency video contest, the winner of which will receive a pair of Pivot Head sunglasses. For more information and to submit your video entry, go to copblock.org/pivothead. 1. Document with a camera a police employee exhibiting double standards or the standards we expect them to live up to. This can be done while on foot, during a vehicle stop, while submitting an open records request, etc. 2. Upload your video to your YouTube channel. 3. Fill out the form at copblock.org/pivothead by the deadline of midnight Eastern Standard Time, May 23rd, 2014. 4. The winner, chosen by contest sponsors, will be notified by email, and the Pivot Head sunglasses will be shipped once a mailing address is received. Copblock.org/pivothead.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
You can interact with other LRN listeners in our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to take control here and bring up whatever's on your mind. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Don't forget about the Free State Project. We were just talking about how different New Hampshire is. One of the 101 reasons to move to New Hampshire, which is outlined on the Free State Project's website at freestateproject.org, is how accessible the legislature is here. We just had a phone call with a gentleman who spent the time to actually craft legislation that would change the tinting laws here in New Hampshire.
Right, so like back window and side window tinting laws.
Yeah, he actually took the time to write that up, which is something you have to do here in New Hampshire. These state representatives are not lawyers, most of them. They are not full-time, even though there's a fair amount of hours you do have to put in as a state rep, traveling to Concord and sitting in hearings and things like that. It's not a full-time position. They get paid $100 a year. I mean, these people may have a few issues that are their pet issues that they have submitted legislation on, but many of them are happy to listen to constituents who might agree with them on something, as our co-host Daryl did. He came forward with this bill to change dramatically the election system to allow third parties to get on the ballot easily. He found a state representative who, by the way, wasn't a Free State Project participant, just one of the state representatives who had an interest in changing these election laws, and he presented the proposed legislation to the state rep. State rep looked over it, said he agreed with it, maybe made a few changes or something.
It was a she.
Nope, it's a he.
Okay.
And he put it. You're talking about the caller? The caller was a she. I'm talking about Daryl, our co-host. He approached a male state representative about this. He approached multiple, and he found one who was willing to do it. And just like our caller, found one who was willing to submit the window tinting. Now, both of them went down in flames, but the point being that you could actually try it here. You can't do that in another place. In a lot of other places, you can't even talk to these people You try to call a state representative in Florida, you're going to talk to their secretary or one of their aides. They're going to take a note about what you have to say. Oh, you're against that? Okay. I'll take a
That's
note.
really riveting. I've got solitaire to play.
And then that's it. You know, you don't get any interaction with this person until it comes to campaign time. Then the state reps in Florida will make an appearance.
I've had him knock on my door.
They will make an appearance during campaign season. They will, appear to be interested in you at that time of year, but any other time in the 2-year or 4-year window, however long it is down in Florida, they just don't care. But at least here in New Hampshire, you can get an audience with these people. You can, in most cases, call them at their home. When you pull up their information on the state website as to how to contact these folks, they don't have offices in the state house. There are no offices for state representatives. And I don't think senators have them. I'm not positive on that. I don't think they do. The governor has an office.
Senators have at least share a secretary.
Yes.
I don't know whether they have a
the
place
state
to
reps.
sit. The state reps actually have a secretary?
There's somebody who will answer a phone and forward you to the right place. I think it's probably the same person, but I don't know. Anyway, they get a locker in the state house.
Yeah, that's it.
So no office staff that is theirs exclusively. No space beyond the locker that is theirs exclusively. It's like a whole different world in the legislative system here. But again, it is still a legislative system. It is still frustrating in a lot of different ways, and it is still time-consuming. And it takes a lot of dedication. I mean, the folks who've been trying to change the cannabis laws here have really packed, they put on the hours. They put in the hours on this. They keep submitting legislation over and over again. And year after year, it gains a little bit at a time to the point where the state representatives are now voting for legalization. They're now voting for decriminalization. It's getting held up by the governor and the Senate. So there's still some work to be done, and the Free State Project is the way to get this done. It is the way to achieve liberty in our lifetime. You can go to freestateproject.org and learn about moving to New Hampshire with thousands of other people who love freedom, hopefully just like you do. So again, freestateproject.org. And the Porcupine Freedom Festival is coming up here in about a month and a half at this point. It's going to be hitting real soon, June 22nd through the 29th. Free Talk Live will be broadcasting live, as will some other great shows from LRN.FM. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's not about our show. It's just we happen to be there. It's about getting 1,500 or so people together in the woods, beautiful white mountains of northern New Hampshire. The view is spectacular. The people are awesome. The time is great. It's a full week, June 22nd through the 29th. Lots of great activities. There's a kind of a do-it-yourself theme this year. Mm-hmm. Lots of folks are going to be training you on how to do stuff like build an AR-15, I think is one of the things. You can build your own gun at the Porcupine Freedom Festival. There's going to be all kinds of family activities going on, lots of different speeches and presentations, interactive workshops, things like that. So
yeah, New Hampshire this time of year and into PorcFest is heaven on earth.
It's awesome. So you don't want to miss it. Go to porcfest.com. June 22nd through the 29th. We'll be there, and we'll see you there. PORCFEST.com. We have Rusty in Texas. Rusty, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, howdy.
Welcome.
I guess first time caller.
Thanks.
Just want to get y'all's kind of point of view. I'm part of the Free State Project. Signed up, plan to move there once the 5,000 or I think 20,000 hit. Okay. But currently, I got a job, and I got a job with the federal government, and it's bringing some moral dilemmas to me. It's like, well, should I just don't know. Just being part of being kind of liberty mindset, I don't see the value in it, but on the other hand, I got to pay rent. So it brings a bunch of moral questions to mind. I just want to get y'all's point of view on it.
I don't think that working for the feds is necessarily a safe bet, not like it used to be. I kind of see it as a sinking ship, so I wouldn't, not just for moral reasons, but for financial, for employment security reasons, I don't think that I would recommend anybody take a job with the feds.
Well, I mean, there's the paycheck that you're going to get next week, which is pretty likely from the feds, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I think that most people are looking for that next job, and that's what I think you should be doing in that circumstance, is looking for the next job. But it may or may not ever come.
Can it transfer you up to New Hampshire? Would having this position with the federal government actually assist you in getting to New Hampshire sooner rather than later?
Yeah. Yeah, it would. It would allow me to transfer up there and probably telework or something like that from a location.
Can you tell us what the job is, or the field?
It's not like defense or anything like that. It's kind of deal with numbers, basically. It's kind of what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are some people that believe in the liberty philosophy that would philosophically say it is completely unacceptable to work for the U.S. government or any other government agency or any organization that uses violence to solve their problems or whatever they might say. I am not one of those people, and I don't think...
Nor am I.
Yeah, I don't think anybody on this show necessarily...
I don't know, Johnny Ray might be one of those people.
No, I'd have to say I'm not. I'm like That's you good. Guys.
My opinion is that I'd like to have a libertarian in whatever government position there is, rather than somebody who doesn't think about these things, or worse yet, disagrees and is an authoritarian. So I'll take I'll take my libertarians where I can get them. Further, I don't think that there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a government job from a philosophical standpoint. I don't see that point. I just. It's a job. Are you harming somebody when you do it? No? Okay. That's what it is.
If you're not out raiding people and destroying lives, then,
right. I think my philosophy of I'd like to have a libertarian in that position falls apart when you're talking about a SWAT team member or a person on a, say, special forces hit squad. It doesn't really matter who puts the bullet through your head if the bullet goes through your head.
Weeks ago, we were talking about the crossing guard lady and Derek and Derek's victimless crime spree. And I was thinking back then that I had kind of made a rough shuffling of the relative evil of everybody in the world. And if you have to be able to sort of categorize people relative to this conversation we're having here. And what I'm getting at is if you carry a gun for the state, then that's no good, and you deserve all the opprobrium that I'll heap on you. But everything else, as long as you're not menacing someone else, then I'm okay with it.
Any other thoughts, Rusty?
It's not enforcement or anything like that. I don't go out and tell somebody or fine them or anything like that. It's just in the past I had worked for a city down here in one of the, and it did help being a libertarian because they tried to push some issues, and I was like, well, just from this angle, I don't think it would work. I think you're violating some people's rights. And
awesome. Well, and we know that we had a guy who called the show for years, TSA George. At one point, he told us that he'd actually looked the other way when people went through with marijuana in their bags. So he's actually in a position like that, as invasive of a position as that is. He was able to help people by not going after them when they came through his line. Hey, thanks for the call, Rusty. Look forward to seeing you in New Hampshire when you get here. Hour number 2 is on the way. You can take control here on Free Talk Live.
What if humans found a habitable planet, set up housekeeping, and then got left alone by Earth and its big government? Well, that happened in Freehold, Michael Z. Williamson's seminal work. Now available for the first time in a signed, limited hardback edition. Other books in this series are also available in paperback. I cannot recommend a modern fiction work more highly than Freehold. Earth might have left Freehold alone, but it doesn't stay that way. It's war. Get your copy right now at all major booksellers and shop.freetalklive.com.
Gold Bond presents Shaquille O'Neal.
So I'm hanging out with my Gold Bond buddies, and they're like, Shaq, great job with the Gold Bond powder spray. People love it. So I'm soaking in the good vibes, kicking off my shoes. Next thing I know, they're coming out with a new foot powder spray. Boom. Shaq strikes again.
Gold Bond No Mess powder spray cools and refreshes your body. And new Gold Bond foot powder spray has 2 times the odor-absorbing powders to do the same for your feet.
Stay cool with Gold Bond.
Are you looking for camping, hunting, survival, or shooting gear? ManVentureOutpost.com carries the name brands you want at the lowest prices. Ammunition, knives, firearm accessories, archery, air guns, scopes, binoculars, laser sights, tactical flashlights, fish finders, and boating equipment. ManVentureOutpost.com is family-owned and has the lowest prices. Go check it for yourself. Get it quick. Get it from ManVentureOutpost.com.
Now buy firearms at ManVentureOutpost.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 6, 2014. Silver is trading at $19.70 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,311 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $432. Antiwar.com reports the Obama administration announced yesterday that it will recognize the D.C. office of the Syrian National Coalition as an official diplomatic mission, dubbing them the legitimate representative of the Syrian people. Top SNC figure Ahmad Jarba touted the move as a major blow to the Assad government's legitimacy. Though since the SNC is itself a relatively trivial rebel faction, the move doesn't seem nearly so significant. The State Department followed up the move with a promise of another $27 million in aid for the SNC. Such subsidies are effectively the group's only source of revenue as it continues to lobby for more subsidies on the notion that it will eventually be installed by the U.S. or other powers as the new government of Syria. The State Department's statement on the matter also angrily condemned the upcoming Syrian election as unacceptable. The remaining territory of the Syrian government will be voting in early June. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They now take Bitcoin for purchasing precious metals so you can turn your profits into a long-term investment. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing. 800-874-9760. USA Today reports the Federal Aviation Administration said Monday that the air traffic control problem in Los Angeles last week was sparked by a U-2 spy plane that essentially confused the agency's aging computers. The U-2 typically flies nearly twice as high as commercial airliners, but its flight path on Wednesday was interpreted as being much lower, according to the FAA. Making sure the erroneous lower flight plan would not jeopardize other planes consumed a large amount of available memory and interrupted the computer's other flight processing functions. The FAA said the computer system interpreted the flight as a more typical low-altitude operation and began processing it for a route below 10,000 feet. No planes ever got dangerously close to each other, but the problem canceled 50 flights at Los Angeles International Airport and delayed 455 others, according to the airport. Impacts on the delays were felt at airports across the country. The agency corrected the problem within an hour and added more available memory for the computer to prevent it from happening again. The problem involved the regional Los Angeles Air Route Traffic Control Center in Palmdale, which tracks planes between airports across Southern California, parts of Nevada, Arizona, and Utah. You've heard of ShinyBadges.com, but you need to check out the New Causes tab. Every item in that section includes a donation to a worthy liberty project, like Shire Sharing. So go to ShinyBadges.com, click on the New Causes tab, and get yourself a quality product that not only supports the cause you believe in, but starts a conversation with your neighbors. Plus, get a free gift when you pay with Bitcoin at ShinyBadges.com. CNN reports a Texas judge could have sentenced a rapist to 20 years in prison after he admitted to raping a 14-year-old girl in her high school. Instead, the judge gave the defendant a 45-day sentence and probation after implying that the victim was promiscuous. Judge Janine Howard told the Dallas Morning News that she based the sentence, in part, on medical records indicating that the girl had 3 sexual partners and had given birth. She told the newspaper that the victim wasn't the victim she claimed to be, and the defendant, 20-year-old Sir Young, is not your typical sex offender. Critics fear the decision could discourage other victims from reporting rapes. Andrea Mosley, chief prosecutor for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, said, "We're certainly concerned about the message that's being sent to victims of sexual assault. We expect that our victims will be protected and that their reputations will be protected and that they will feel safe in coming forward and reporting these crimes." But it wasn't just the sentence that drew criticism, it was the type of community service that Young was also sentenced to. Young, who was a schoolmate of the victim when she was raped in 2011, was ordered to serve 250 hours of community service at a rape crisis center. The center later said he was not welcome there. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Now, a lot of little girls do ballet even though their fathers couldn't care less and don't see what the big deal is. But one talented little prodigy actually choreographed a whole ballet that her father could enjoy and even look forward to. Let's meet Erin Kemper and her father, Jack.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Erin, how did you do that? I thought about all the things that my dad likes to watch and put it into a ballet.
Well, we have a special treat for you today because Erin is now going to perform her new ballet. When I pay the bills, I get to make the rules.
We can't afford that. World War II. I miss your mother too, but we're gonna have to do the best without her. Go Redskins!
Bravo! Well done. Boy, I wish she were mine. You know, my two girls are grown up, but you still couldn't pay me to watch one of their a cappella shows. What inspired you to create this amazing ballet?
I'm really inspired by the theme of my dad paying any attention to me at all.
Now, at the end, I hear she just put the game up on the big screen.
I don't know where she gets it.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. Plenty of time for you to take control of the airwaves here and bring up whatever's on your mind. From the New York police raiding the house of a dead man a dozen times in 6 or 7 years, to whatever story you want to tell us. We had another guy call in talking about a SWAT team that raided a party that he was having and shot a dog to death in front of a teenager, as well as the rest of the family. Just horrifying stories. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want to discuss here. You talked about window tinting as well.
I want to tell my story, too. I want to finish telling my story about my raid.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Oh, really?
Well, how long? Oh, you mean the one you brought in to talk about?
Yeah.
I thought you meant you had a raid story personally. That,
No.
We'll get to that, Johnny Ray, but we've got calls holding, and we're going to go to the phones first here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, and you can call in on Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. We go to Chan in Boston. Chan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. I'm Chan. And I read about you guys on Wiki, and I'm going to pretend to be a female caller, just for nothing other than encouraging the female to call in your show.
So you're calling tonight to encourage women to call Free Talk Live?
Yeah, because I got the idea when I read about Free Talk Live on Wiki.
Oh, okay, great. Well, we also would like to encourage ladies to call into the show. Unfortunately, one of the realities for talk radio is that the majority of the audience tends to be male, so it's a little harder to get the ladies to call into the program, but it has been known to happen. Was there anything else that you wanted to share tonight, Chan?
Sure. Other than dropping that clue out there for women to call in, I just want to say that, just change the topic a little bit and just say that I like chickens. But
who doesn't?
Wait. I'm gonna warn the audience that you watch everything with skepticism, because everyone say, "Oh, great, chicken's great, just raise chicken and be independent and all that stuff." But they never publish their failures.
Thanks for the call, Chan. I appreciate hearing from you tonight.
What I think he's addressing here is that in the liberty movement, there's a certain, large contingent that believes that you're going to have freedom by having sort of your own self-sufficient farm.
You've got some chickens.
I had chickens. And
you don't have them now?
No, I hate them.
Really?
Yeah, I really hated raising chickens.
Okay, so apparently everyone doesn't like chickens after all. I thought...
Well, I've got to say that raising chickens, it was nice to have farm fresh eggs, but honestly, a friend has chickens, and I can have farm fresh eggs that I can trade,
pay for 'em.
money or the stuff that we produce on our farm with them.
Right.
Whatever.
You don't have to deal with all the chicken stuff.
And with chickens, I raise pigs. Pigs you get in May and you take care of in December. So I like to say.
By take care of, you mean slaughter?
Yeah, I'll kill them and slaughter them in December. I like to say that pigs are like a girlfriend, chickens are like a wife. The fact is with the chickens, you're constantly trying to make sure that the hens are, going to breed and brood so that you can have new chickens. Chickens are good for about 2 years as far as production goes, that kind of thing. You've got to feed them every day. Up here in New Hampshire, water freezes. I don't know if you're aware of this. So you've got to go make sure that the water is either chipped open or you have some kind of heating element in there.
But they eat ants, don't they? How much do you have to feed them? Don't they dig up your yard and...
Yes, they do dig up your yard, and all the spots as far as grass and that kind of thing, that's great. But when you have ornamental plants, for instance, your wife's trying to grow some peonies or whatever, they're going to go in and throw your annuals all over the yard while they dig for those bugs. You don't want to let them anywhere near your garden, so you have to have a fence up because they're just going to go make a mess in there and tear stuff to pieces. And yeah, I mean, they have these things called chicken tractors, which is a big cage that you can kind of move around your yard so that they will fertilize and aerate your lawn. Those are great, but you do have to move them every single day and that kind of thing. So, chickens, you should do chickens if you like chickens. Don't do chickens because you think they bring freedom. I have...
You became enslaved to the chickens.
I have eaten completely agorist meals, and I have yet to see the state fall. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Making your own food is a freeing thing in that it makes you feel good, but it doesn't really do anything to monopolistic organizations that claim...
of course not. The state won't go away until people stop believing in it and stop obeying it.
And by the way, they call it, I can't remember, Situation D or something like that. The economy that, the underground economy that doesn't pay taxes around the world. 2/3.
Like Free Talk Live.
Well, no, I'm talking really about the underground economy.
Okay.
People just sort of...
Drug dealers?
Doing business. I'm talking about around the world, Ian.
Okay.
The vast majority of people do not pay taxes on their interactions.
Heroic.
Well, they're not even asked to, because the vast majority of people don't live in the United States. And they're not, there's not a sales tax organization out there demanding these things. They live in other countries where they don't have the efficient government apparatus to collect these things. So... I can't remember. I'll have to look it up.
You tell me people in China don't pay taxes on labor?
I'm telling you that 2/3 of the money that changes hands in the world on a regular basis is not taxed.
Okay.
And therefore, my claim is agorism doesn't work.
At least to take down the state.
Yeah, not for that. I mean, now you can talk about other sort of outside the system activist stuff that it certainly does work.
Agorism is what now?
Agorism is the idea that you're going to replace the state by with free market alternatives
by working underground basically, and then kind of coming out from the underground and competing with the state and out-competing it and making it go away.
Right. And essentially what it means to most people is avoiding paying taxes by doing barter or whatever, growing their own food. I don't pay any taxes on the food that we grow at our house. There's no doubt about it, unless you consider the property taxes that we've paid on the property, which of course makes that lettuce very, very expensive. So I just don't see this as a viable solution. All the evidence is not a viable solution.
You mean agorism not a viable solution to ending the state?
No, I mean it's a viable solution if you want to grow food, you should grow food because you enjoy it and it's fun.
I think agorism is a viable thing for people to do to keep more money in their own pockets. I think that's a good thing. To avoid government regulation and controls on business, to operate underground is a good thing there. But ultimately, you got to come out from the shadows at some point. I mean, if the agorist belief is that they're going to outcompete the government, then they're going to need to come out from the shadows and actually compete. Bring out the agorist road crew. Where are they? Get out there and actually, we've got a story about that.
Yeah, we do.
I'll get into that here in a little bit. We'll tell you what happens when people start making their own crosswalks in Tacoma, Washington. We got Ty on the line. He's in Tennessee via Skype. Hello, Ty.
Good evening, guys. Hey, I just heard on the Free Talk Live Weekly Digest podcast, a woman who called in and she was embarrassed by feeling threatened around black people. She was being very honest and frank. You guys remember that conversation?
Yeah, I remember. That was a Saturday show, I think.
Sounds right.
Well, she thought she was being racist, even though it was unintended. It was like an involuntary response. Well, I just wanted to, hopefully she's listening, unconscious or subconscious discrimination feelings are just completely natural and should not be confused with racism. Racism is a dogmatic belief that some groups of people are inferior or superior to other groups of people. Now, being uncomfortable around people we feel are strange is actually completely natural. There have been scientific studies that have shown that people of one race really do have a hard time telling the difference between other people with other racial features. So white people really do look alike to black people and vice versa. It's just the way the mind works. Now, her feeling threatened might be a little extreme, but I think most people, I myself feel uncomfortable. I'm a white guy. If I'm in a room full of black people, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, even though I live in a city that has a very large black population.
Now, do the studies that you're talking about take in kind of societal factors of, being raised around maybe racist parents or a racist grandfather, or just experiencing a lot of that, perhaps in media? Or is it, taking into effect the fact that this sort of behavior exists elsewhere? If you want to comment further, Ty, you're welcome to. We'll come back with more here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
All right, hold on. We got to interrupt the regularly scheduled stuff for just a minute. I've got to tell you about this because it's weird. It'll make sense. What if I told you that eating this one weird spice could actually help you reverse diabetes? I know, it's crazy, right? Well, if you or somebody you care about has diabetes or pre-diabetes or easy for me to say, metabolic syndrome, you've got to check out this video. It's free. You may have heard about this. People who've tried it say that they've been able to normalize their blood sugar, stop taking their diabetes meds, and their doctors are all for it. So what is it? What's behind this? Well, the company says it's a natural, drug-free approach to reversing diabetes, and they say that it works in as little as 4 weeks, and it all starts with this one weird kitchen spice you probably have in your kitchen right now. So you should check out the free video and see for yourself. It's at WeirdSpice55.com. So write that down. It's WeirdSpice55.com. WeirdSpice55.com.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
Congress today passed a landmark Social Security reform bill they estimate could save the troubled program billions. The so-called Grab Life by the Balls bill includes provisions to cut the cost of cigarettes in half, outlaws helmets, and adjusts the CDC's recommended amount of sleep from 8 hours a night to when you're dead. The bill's short-term initiatives aim to immediately cut Social Security costs in half by replacing senior citizens' monthly checks with vouchers for grain, alcohol, and extreme sports.
I got this coupon to motocross over a canyon. Better do my part to help the deficit.
Supporters in Congress say the cost will be offset by the so-called pussy tax on products such as sweaters, vegetables, hand soap, and flu shots.
America, would you rather die old, broke, and forgotten, or die a mother-f***ing legend?
The new program follows in the footsteps of the Life is a Cartoon Medicare campaign, which encourages seniors to run full speed off of cliffs and smoke sticks of dynamite.
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com. MineThings.com is a fun online game that pits you against people around the world to mine for scarce resources. Do business in a capitalist economy with virtually mined gold, tax-free. It doesn't require a big time commitment. Your little mining robot guy works whether you're logged in or not. It costs nothing to play, but you can buy bonuses. They even accept bitcoins. Go to MineThings.com, use coupon code FTL, and double your mining speed. It's free. MineThings.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You are invited to take control here and bring up whatever's on your mind at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also join us via Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. And don't forget, you can join us online at freetalklive.com.
Sherry's Berries. Giant, delicious, premium strawberries dipped in chocolate, white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate. They're beautiful, and they are as beautiful as they are delicious. I cannot speak highly enough of these berries. They are among the best things I've ever tasted in my life. You have to be kind of careful when consuming them because it's pretty easy to eat them all and not share one bit. You can order these Sherry's Berries for your mother, and I'm certain she will love them. Because they are unique and delicious. They start at an order is just $19.99. That's over a 40% savings. Or you can double the berries for just $10 more. Click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner at berries.com and use my code. That's BERRIES.com and use coupon code FTL. That's FTL as in Free Talk Live, obviously. You'll be taken to a page, and there you can choose what sort of Sherry's Berries you want to get, what size and whatever it is that you want to get. They are delicious. Trust me, it's a good, safe Mother's Day gift, and she will love it. You can have them delivered on Mother's Day, around Mother's Day, whatever's best for you and your life. I know that shipping costs vary depending on the day you pick. So berries.com, microphone in the upper right-hand corner, type in FTL. This deal expires on Friday at midnight, so make sure you order now.
All right, we got Ty on the line with us here in Tennessee. And Ty, you're calling about what you call unconscious discrimination versus racism. You're saying there's some studies that suggest that it's natural for people to be afraid of others who are not like them physically.
I've heard about this as far as babies go, and I made a conscious effort when Jack was young to have him be held by people of different ethnicities, just to sort of counteract that. He and I have never had a conversation about ethnicity. He doesn't even. I don't know. I'm not going to say he doesn't know what it is. He's never talked to me about it. He's never said, why is this person brown and have tight curly hair? Why is this person have straight, he never said it.
I suggest that a lot of this is coming from culture. A lot of this is coming from society. It is being communicated both overtly and maybe subtly by parents and television and things like that. I know that when I was in kindergarten, I mean, my best friend was black. I had no problem whatsoever interacting with the black kids at school. It didn't even faze me in any way, shape, or form. But I do remember being in my late teenage years visiting New Orleans and getting on a bus at like 11 o'clock at night to go back to my hotel, which is kind of on the outskirts and not a great part of town, and having the bus be full of black people. And I felt a little strange, but I thought that maybe I was feeling that way was because, well, I generally don't feel comfortable when I'm on buses because some undesirable characters, no matter what their color is, are on buses in my experience in life. And so I think that might have been a factor. Plus, I was in a new place, in a place I didn't know, and, it was late at night.
There's always this question, sort of, do they not like me because of my color, too? There's this wall that's been driven between us here, and I don't know.
That didn't come to my mind, but I could see why someone would think that way because that's, I think that's part of what's sort of imbued to some extent by popular culture. I don't know. What do you think about that, Ty?
Well, I think what I was really talking about on these studies is a factor called cross-race effect, and it has more to do with like facial recognition. The idea, the old adage that all white people look alike to black people and all black people look alike to white people. That is actually documented in these studies. But it is also a natural thing for people to be uncomfortable around strangeness, around things that they see as not exactly the norm. Mm-hmm. And that's just something that needs to be overcome. It's a matter of, I think the last time I called in, I was talking about raising to a higher level of consciousness. The idea that I think the way to overcome this is if you're in an uncomfortable situation, say you're in a room, you're not used to black people, you're a white person, you're not used to black people, and you're in a room with black people, smile and say hello. And most likely they're going to smile and say hello back.
Absolutely. And
that breaks the ice and everything's fine because we're all humans. We all think alike. Our emotions are all wired the same, and it's just a matter of getting over that fear. I think it's a fear factor that you have to overcome. So I think that
I think you're right. I think it's more of this unfamiliarity that you're around something that's unusual, and I think it certainly happens between age ranges as well. Like, young kids kind of put on a tough demeanor, for instance, in a lot of cases, and they can appear intimidating. But in a lot of cases, you go up and talk to them, they're friendly as anybody else. There's just like a gender, not a gender gap, but a kind of an age gap in there, and I've experienced that. I've experienced some like hesitation in approaching certain groups on the streets, but I'll do it anyway. There's a group of young people on the streets the other day here in Keene, and there was a lot of them there, and I just decided to approach them anyway, and it went fine.
So
go ahead. Mike.
I had this conversation in prison with more than one black person, just sort of trying to flesh it out for myself. Why do I feel uncomfortable when I go certain places, not only in the real world, but in prison, where there might be a bunch of black guys hanging out in a particular area, just posted up, as we would have called it. And why do I feel that way? What is that? And more than one time, most of the time that I had this conversation, and I'm, usually when I'm having this conversation, I'm not having it with somebody I don't know at all. I'm having it with somebody that I'm, very familiar with, quite friendly with. The statement would be, shoot, I'm uncomfortable in those situations too. So, it's in that circumstance, in that particular circumstance, they were saying that they were uncomfortable being black people, uncomfortable about being uncomfortable around groups of young black males. And I think that it's this mix, this cocktail of gender, age, and race that really has made it very difficult for young black males to sort of integrate in many ways.
Well, right. I mean, if you were to walk into a room full of tough-dressed young people, whether they be black or white, versus say walking into a church, a black church or that's going to be a different situation, right?
It's a different situation.
You're going to feel more or less comfortable depending on the circumstances. So I don't know go ahead.
I wanted to assure her that she was not being racist by having those feelings, because racism is specifically feeling that one group of people is inferior or superior to another.
I think that's
all it means.
It's not the definition, but at the same time, those feelings that she was feeling is one of the things that separates us. Now, also, you don't want to go walking in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time of day, and deal with problems either. So it's this weird sort of balancing act. How do I make myself open to other people that I'm, may not be, normally associate with? How do I do that without opening myself up to problems I'm just not interested in?
Right. The higher calling is to just increase the empathy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. Good thoughts. 855 450 free. We continue. Johnny Ray still got the story about this psychotic attorney who is after his wife, and we'll find out what is going on with that because we barely scratched the surface earlier. Plus, you can take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever's on your mind here at 855 450 free. On the way, the Agorist Road crew is being targeted in Tacoma, Washington.
Gentlemen, in search of $1 million smile that'll make them take notice, really get their attention? Then get the mud. My Magic Mud. The fluoride-free whitener with no chemicals, additives, GMOs, or bad taste. And safe to swallow. My Magic Mud detoxifies, reduces sensitivity, cleans and strengthens your teeth while it whitens. Comes as a powder for pure whitening power. Start looking good for that special someone. Get the mud now. MyMagicMud.com.
The TalkStream Live app for iPhone, iPad, and Android is the fastest and easiest way to access live talk radio anytime, anywhere. Download the free TalkStream Live app right now and see for yourself. You'll enjoy instant access to the best in live talk radio. Find your favorite shows and discover some new ones. The TalkStream Live app is available in the App Store, the Google Play Store, or visit TalkStreamLive.com. That's TalkStreamLive.com.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
Shiny badges on your jacket. Shiny badges start a conversation with your neighbor or your doctor or your family or your school. Now there's teachers and lawyers and business executives, and they all wear shiny badges and they all reject the state. Shiny badges on your jacket. Shiny badges show the world that you reject coercion and aggression and oppression by the state. ShinyBadges.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
A meme is not easy to define.
What is it?
But you know it when you see it.
Amazing.
Don'tTreadOnMeme.com proves that.
I feel so enlightened.
Don't Tread on Meme, M-E-M-E, helping you give the finger to our monetary system of deception by providing you with silver dime trading cards. Unlike today's dollar, they have value, and they look neat too.
Oh, would you look at those? Aren't those just swell?
Don'tTreadOnMeme.com. While you're browsing their numerous silver dime card designs, take time to download the easy-to-use Silver Calculator app. This simple piece of technology lets you know instantly, whether using iPhone or Android, just how much your silver coin is worth. Find out all the details at Don'tTreadOnMeme.com. Now accepting Bitcoin. Don't Tread on Meme, your path to a voluntary society with honest money. Don'tTreadOnMeme.com, serving you faster than the Fed prints money.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Take control here. Toll-free number 855-453. That's 855-450-3733. We also have Skype. You can Skype into the show at username LRN.FM. With you tonight, Ian here.
Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Don't forget to join us online at freetalklive.com.
You've heard of shinybadges.com if you've been listening to Free Talk Live any length of time, because we have that great jingle. I love that jingle.
It's catchy.
Yeah, Hannah does such a great job with those jingles. But what you probably haven't heard of is their new Causes tab. If you go to shinybadges.com, and you can see the tabs across the top there, you'll see the Causes tab. Every time, every item there on that section under Causes, a donation is made every time somebody buys a pin from shinybadges.com to different organizations. It sort of makes sense for them. So if you go with the anti-war pin, they donate to antiwar.com. The logo is antiwar.com's logo, basically.
Yep.
So they're an obvious choice for that. Muslims for Liberty pin donates to Muslims for Liberty. The Silk Road pin, which is just beautiful.
I want to get one.
Right. It donates to, well, it's not that difficult. You go to
I told Dobby I'm going to buy it from him in person at Borgfest.
I gotcha. It donates to the Russ Ulbricht Legal Defense Fund, Bitcoin Not Bombs hoodie. Donates to the Bitcoin Not Bombs hoodie, the Homeless Campaign 2014. So these are great causes. You just go to shinybadges.com, click on the Causes tab, get yourself some quality Liberty products that not only start a conversation with your neighbors, but support the causes that you believe in. Plus, get a free gift if you buy in Bitcoin.
The cool thing about shiny badges like their Bitcoin pin, for instance, maybe you've got a Bitcoin t-shirt. You can't wear that every day.
Yeah.
You can wear a pin as often as you please, put it on as many outfits, or like I've got my Shire Society pin on my backpack, so wherever I go, I've got that with me.
Right.
Very cool. ShinyBadges.com. We'll continue here. Your calls certainly welcome. In the last hour, we started a story that Johnny Ray had about an attorney who is crazy, apparently, and has been attempting to attack his wife. He's violent. She managed to escape, I believe, from their household.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten quite that far, but we have revealed that she is afraid for her life, and that the son of the couple is convinced that Mark Tootin, L.A. attorney, will kill his wife and family.
And there's a video
chance.
of him slashing and stabbing, and not a person, but destroying things in the
purse,
home. Coming at her violently.
Mm-hmm. Now this story is from Pro Libertate or Pro Libertate, depending on whether you're saying it right or wrong, and I don't know which it is.
I believe the former is the correct pronunciation. I believe I've heard him pronounce it.
Okay, Pro Libertate.
That's Will Grigg.
Will Grigg. Continuing on, if, God forbid, Patrice's worst fears are consummated, L.A. County Sheriff's Deputy Julio Jova, or Julio Jove, depending on if you're Ian or Mark, Julio Jova should be prosecuted as an accomplice. Jova helped Mark track down the would-be victims, who had been relocated for her safety, and held her in jail while the estranged husband burgled her home.
Oh, my.
About 2 years ago, Patrice filed for divorce. In January, she obtained an order of protection and moved into a safe house in Orange County. According to Patrice's attorney, David Scharf, her husband reacted by threatening to have her arrested and promising that he would see her in jail. At daybreak on March 20th, Patrice was startled awake by an insistent pounding on the front door. When she answered, she was shoved aside by several deputies who, without permission or explanation, surged into her home with their guns drawn. The officer in charge of the thug scrum was Detective Jova, with whom Patrice had spoken 3 days earlier. Patrice had called Jova after learning that the detective was investigating her in connection with the alleged theft of items from her husband's car. Mark had violated the protective order by calling me to say I could get some things belonging to Jonathan, the couple's 23-year-old son, from his car, Patrice explained to me. After we retrieved my son's belongings, I found out that Detective Jova was investigating me for some reason. Detective Jova later claimed that he was investigating the theft of several items from Mark's car. The March 20th raid was conducted pursuant to a Ramey warrant.
So just to clarify, the lawyer calls his ex-wife, tells her that she can get items from his car?
Yes.
She goes and does that.
Against the restraining order, he shouldn't have called her.
He violates the order. He shouldn't have called her. She then goes to retrieve these items, and now the cop, who's his buddy, is investigating her for stealing things from the car.
Yes.
Sounds like a setup to me.
Yes. Detective Yova later claimed that he was investigating the theft of several items from Mark's car. The March 20th raid was conducted pursuant to a Ramey warrant, which indicates that Yova was already planning to arrest Patrice when she contacted him 3 days earlier. If he had legitimate suspicions about Patrice, he neglected an opportunity to clear the case without further trouble by talking with a cooperative suspect. Instead, Yova told me that he had no questions to ask and no information he could give me, Patrice recalled to me in a phone interview. I also let him know about the protective order against Mark, who was stalking and harassing me. Under the terms of that order, Mark was not permitted to call me, and he wasn't allowed to know where I was living. And I explained that to Yova. I also gave him the name of other law enforcement officers who had been in contact with us and knew the details of our situation. I explained all of this to him just a few days before the cops raided my home at daybreak, supposedly in search of property that had been stolen from Mark. Shall I continue?
You shall.
It's a long article, Ian, but there's a little more information about Deputy Yova that is very illuminating.
Okay, very good.
That comes a bit later. The property in question consisted of two laptop computers that had been purchased with family funds and would be considered the family's community property under California law, since the divorce has not been finalized. Patrice believes that Mark wanted access to information on the laptop computers dealing with alleged sexual and financial misconduct, which would play a significant role in divorce proceedings. It comes out later that misconduct is on Mark's part, not the wife's part.
Yeah, she's got info on him that's going to come out in the divorce proceedings that she can then use to, get whatever sort of rulings she wants to get, the kids, money, whatever it comes out as, and you know how the ugly these things get.
However, Mark didn't know Patrice's passwords, and since she was living in an undisclosed location, he had no way of getting them from her. By inviting Patrice to collect the laptop computers and then reporting them as stolen, Mark effectively enlisted Detective Yova and his comrades as accomplices in a home invasion robbery. The confiscated property wasn't turned over to the magistrate's office as required by law. Instead, the laptops were handed to Mark along with an Apple desktop computer that Patrice had purchased by herself.
Wow, so after the raid, they turned it over to the husband illegally.
Yes.
Okay.
After seizing my client's property under the claim of a warrant, Deputy Yova took her computer and her other property and immediately gave it to Mark Tootin, recalled Attorney David Scharf in a detailed letter to the district attorney's office. Releasing property that has been obtained under a search warrant is a blatant violation of the law. The same is true of Yova's refusal to provide the search warrant and the return when Scharf filed a formal request for those documents.
Wow.
After the police invaded her home, Patrice offered documentation proving legal ownership of the supposedly stolen computers to no avail. Yova and his comrades weren't there to solve a crime, but rather to commit one.
Right.
In front of my 14-year-old...
More than one, apparently.
In front of my 14-year-old daughter, these deputies pushed me, handcuffed me, and verbally abused me, Patrice told me. They had no justification for this, and they knew it. They also knew about my health problems. She suffers from lupus and coronary artery disease. But this didn't make any difference. They took me to the hospital, then dragged me off to jail. Despite the burden of her parents' impending divorce, Patrice's daughter Natalie has maintained a 4.0 GPA in her high school. The illegal confiscation of the Apple desktop computer by armed government workers placed her academic life in jeopardy. Natalie explained in a letter to Detective Yova, because it contained all of my school assignments, essays, and notes.
When I was in school, computers were a novelty. They didn't play any role in us doing our homework or anything like that. I would imagine that that's entirely different now.
Not content to confiscate Natalie's schoolwork, the intruders attempted to do essentially the same thing to her. One of them led the 14-year-old to a waiting vehicle and told her that she would be in the company of a social worker. The driver was actually Mark's girlfriend, who was a complete stranger to both Natalie and her mother.
Wow. All right, we'll come back with the remainder and your calls and thoughts here on Free Talk Live in moments.
Stop harming your body with coffee from grocery stores or most chains. Start making a difference, 1 cup at a time. We've partnered with Camano Island Coffee Roasters to offer you a free pound of BuzzBox coffee. It's organic, so no harmful pesticides or toxins. Shade-grown, meaning less acidity and no heartburn. Try the best of the best for free. Just cover shipping. 10% of future purchases go toward helping us give the gift of human freedom around the globe with at least 100 microloans via World Vision. Go to coffee.freetalklive.com.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chuck Woolery. After putting a few thousand couples together on Love Connection, you know that nothing kills romance faster than bad breath. Smart Mouth gets at the cause of bad breath without the burn, and you get clean breath for about 12 hours. Other mouthwashes only prevent bad breath for about an hour. Gum and mints, well, they just cover it up. Use Smart Mouth in the morning for great breath all day. Rinse in the evening for clean, kissable breath all night. You can even wake up without morning breath. Smart Mouth, for 12 hours of real clean breath, look for the green box at your favorite store.
This is a special news alert to consumers who owe back taxes to the IRS.
Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers on back taxes, resulting in back taxes reduced by thousands of dollars. An open phone line has been established by Federal Tax Relief for consumers to call and see if you qualify for this reduction. To ensure your financial stability during this decline in the economy, take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-210-1349. That's 1-800-210-1349. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, there's no need to fear anymore. The IRS is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers, resulting in tax debts reduced by thousands of dollars. For your free information and to see if you qualify for your reduction, call the Federal Tax Relief Hotline, 1-800-210-1349. 1-800-210-1349. That's 1-800-210-1349.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Have you ever wanted to help a hardworking person get their business off the ground? Then join me in enjoying some BuzzBox coffee. Let's make a difference, 1 cup at a time. Join us in helping people buy their own coffee farms through at least 100 microloans via World Vision. Free Talk Live coffee drinkers will truly change lives forever. To get the best coffee you've ever tasted, it's organic, shade-grown, and top 1% Arabica grade. Go to coffee.freetalklive.com. The first pound's free, just cover shipping.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. We're talking about some pretty outrageous police behavior. In this case, it's the police combined with an attorney, a crazy, psychotic attorney who is his wife, or who is going to at some point be his ex-wife. The divorce is proceeding. She thinks he's trying to kill her. In fact, she was given a safe house in which to stay, and the psychotic husband managed to ascertain her whereabouts with the assistance of one sheriff's deputy, who then that same sheriff's deputy then proceeded to assist this crazed lawyer by raiding the woman's home and stealing her computers. We'll continue the rest of the story here in moments.
I get BuzzBox coffee delivered to me on a regular basis. It comes right to my mailbox, and it makes my coffee buying experience that much easier. I posted things on Facebook about BuzzBox, and I've seen more than one comment that says they love the taste of BuzzBox and they'll never go back. You can get a free pound of BuzzBox coffee by going to coffee.freetalklive.com. Now, BuzzBox is high-end, 100% organic, top 1% grade Arabica beans. It's shade-grown. It's delicious, and it's competitively priced with other high-end coffees. Nothing unusual there, right? Well, it is kind of unusual that it's shade-grown because I don't think you're going to be able to find that in your grocery store. But you may be able to find it in your grocery store. But you certainly can find it online. One thing that you can't find is you can't find a coffee company that cares as much about people as BuzzBox does. BuzzBox makes it easy for people to join their coffee production co-op. They provide loans so that families can have their lives changed and grow this sustainable crop where they are, because since it's shade grown, it is sustainable. It doesn't wash away the topsoil like Robusto beans do. And also, they allow their partners, like Free Talk Live, to be able to give out microloans. For every 10 people that sign up to get their coffee through coffee.freetalklive.com, after you get your free pound, you'll have to pay the shipping on that free pound, but and sign up for the subscription. You can cancel the subscription anytime. You get your pound, cancel the subscription, it's cool. But for every 10 people that do get their coffee there, we are able to give out another microloan to somebody around the world who is going to have their life changed. Their family is going to be on the road to prosperity. They're going to get the hand up that they need, not some other handout. So go to coffee.freetalklive.com and change somebody's life by changing your coffee brand. Coffee.freetalklive.com.
All right, we continue with the story from William Norman Gregg at Pro Libertate.
I've got to say, I love William Norman Gregg as an author. I think that many times his articles are somewhat too loquacious.
They're exhaustive.
Yeah, they really are.
But he does a lot of research. I mean, he did the interview of this woman here in this article. So, I mean, this is an original report.
And he's a professional blogger. He makes his money from his blog. You can donate right there. And by the way, his wife's got some health problems. So I've got to say, I donate to William Norman Gregg because I love his work. Consider, if you are a person that reads his stuff, consider reading his stuff at Pro Libertate. And if you are a person who reads his stuff, consider, dropping a little something in the change jar there.
Good idea. Let's continue, Johnny Ray. Where are we at?
Natalie, their daughter, has been taken to a car with a strange woman. Told she's a social worker. She is the girlfriend of the attorney, Mark Tootin. I was given sole custody of Natalie. This is Patrice. I was given sole custody of Natalie, and the order of protection specified that Mark was to have no contact with either of us, Patrice observed. He hadn't paid us a single dollar in child support and was facing both disbarment and contempt of court. Yet after Yova arrested me, he tried to turn my daughter over to her abusive father, as well as giving him my address and a huge amount of confidential information he was not legally entitled to have.
Not only that, he apparently brought the computers that he stole from her to the husband, to the lawyer.
Yes,
instead of to the evidence locker or whatever.
Natalie, the daughter, returned to the safe house where she stayed with her adult brother until Patrice was released from jail. Once she was home, Natalie noticed that the doors had been left open. A quick inventory of the family's belongings revealed that someone had taken a black book containing Patrice's computer passwords.
Oh, no.
As well as 2 large binders filled with receipts, financial records, and other materials that had been gathered for divorce hearings. The raid happened on a Thursday morning. Patrice was able to arrange bail by late that afternoon, yet she was held without necessity or justification for more than 3 days.
Already on bail, but still being held. Nice.
Or they're just processing the paperwork, Mark. It takes a little while.
Yeah.
They're bureaucrats. Cut them a break.
No charges against Patrice were ever formally filed. The purpose of arresting her was simply to get her out of the house long enough for her husband to carry out a black bag job.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
The cops took the computers that he couldn't get into previously. He then entered the house, took the black book with the passwords, and then could get into the computers.
Scharf concludes that while Patrice was held in custody, despite posting bail, her husband, who was forbidden to have any contact with her, gained access to her home and stole the black book and the 2 binders.
The cops probably left it open.
Containing documentary evidence obtained by Patrice, proving Mark was actively hiding assets intended for use in the final divorce trial.
I bet he didn't even have to break in. I bet he walked right up and the door was open.
And this is all it takes, because now the evidence is gone. And, whatever her case is destroyed. I mean, this is all he had to do. The daughter and threatening this woman, that's all superfluous stuff. If this was just the only thing that was done in this case, it would still be incredibly egregious.
No one else on Earth would have any interest in these items, and only Mark would know that there would be no one at the residence while Patrice was being arrested. It is significant to note that for no apparent reason, Yova deactivated the security camera recording system installed by Patrice before she was taken to jail.
Suspicious.
Yova arrested Patrice without cause, confiscated her property, and illegally transferred it to her ex-husband, facilitated the near kidnapping of her teenage daughter, disabled her home security, and then prolonged her unwarranted detention to allow her ex-husband to steal critical evidence in a civil case. Yova did this in knowing violation of a protective order, acting outside his jurisdiction to aid and abet a man regarded as an immediate and potentially lethal threat to his wife and children. As Scharf pointed out in his letter to the Los Angeles DA's office, Patrice would have been able to protect herself were it not for the intervention of Detective Yova. The simple fact is that Patrice Touton's life is in danger, and Yova has been facilitating a stalker with his violations of law and perjury.
So what have they done to this officer? That's what I want to know.
I bet you nothing, but maybe we'll find out.
Accusations of sexual and financial misconduct are typical in divorce cases, and it's hardly unheard of for one deeply alienated spouse to obtain a protective order by falsely accusing the other of harboring violent intentions. The fears expressed by Patrice, her son Jonathan, and her best friend were considered plausible by the judge who issued the protective order.
Considering they had a video footage of this guy being psycho, right?
Right. While that isn't a particularly challenging hurdle to cross, it does suggest that the wisest course of action would have been for Patrice and her daughter to be left unmolested in their safe house until the divorce was finalized. The husband in this dispute, however, enjoyed the advantage of impunity by proxy. That is, he was able to persuade police officers to commit illegal acts under the color of law. Detective Yova was in a position to help because he has literally gotten away with murder.
Oh, boy. All right.
In October 2010, Detective Yova shot and killed a 20-year-old man named Jonathan Cuevas, who had been jaywalking across a street on Long Beach Boulevard in Linwood. Yova rolled up to Cuevas and several friends and flashed a spotlight on them. Cuevas, who was not a criminal suspect, bolted. Video provided by a security camera shows Yova shooting several times at the fleeing man, who falls to the ground and is dispatched execution style once the officer reaches him.
Wow. Shot to death for jaywalking.
Jeez.
Shot because he ran away.
Insane.
Well, it's supposed to indicate some level of guilt, but I don't know that it indicates guilt of a felony.
No, certainly not. I wouldn't think so. I mean, it's just, you really did ramp this up, Johnny Ray. I mean, that's, wow. All right.
Yeah, the story goes on to describe Yova's descriptions of the jaywalker and how when he was writhing in pain, that was translated into aggressively shifting his shoulders or something on the ground. And
he had to be shot again on the ground?
He had been shot. I don't know how many times he was shot. There were several shots fired before he went down. Well,
if he's running away, it's unlikely that he's. It's difficult to
keep running.
It's a handgun, right?
Shot once. Yeah. I suspect he was shot once. He went down. He says, "You effing shot me." He's writhing in agony on the ground. And,
yeah, that sounds like a threat.
and Yova dispatches him execution style. I haven't watched the film, but it's available. There's a link in the article.
All right, we'll come back with more. There is more to the story.
A little bit more.
Because this guy shot this guy, and why does he owe this lawyer a favor? We'll come back with more in moments. You can share your thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Because this cop, he does seem to be sticking his neck out quite a ways for this attorney. More on the way. It's Free Talk Live. Hour 3 coming up. You can take control of the airwaves.
There's a treasure hunt going on at mathgate.info, a Bitcoin treasure hunt. You can find Bitcoins by proving theorems. So, learn some logic, do some math, find some Bitcoins. Even better, mathgate.info is designed to be used anonymously. So, connect to mathgate.info through Tor, prove some theorems, find some anonymous Bitcoins. Don't wait, others are already searching for the Bitcoins. Go to mathgate.info today and join the treasure hunt. There are anonymous Bitcoins to be had for the taking at mathgate.info. What if humans found a habitable planet, set up housekeeping, and then got left alone by Earth and its big government? Well, that happened in Freehold, Michael Z. Williamson's seminal work. Now available for the first time in a signed, limited hardback edition. Other books in this series are also available in paperback. I cannot recommend a modern fiction work more highly than Freehold. Earth might have left Freehold alone, but it doesn't stay that way. It's war. Get your copy right now at all major booksellers and shop.freetalklive.com.
Meowbit is free software from the Freedom Fiends that allows you to effortlessly view .bit websites. Meowbit works on all browsers. .bit is a new type of web address that's not controlled by any government or corporation. And we'll show you how to register a .bit domain today using a few cents worth of Namecoin. If anyone ever shuts down your .com website, users will still be able to get to your site using your .bit address in our free software, Meowbit. Go to meowbit.com. That's meowbit.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates online at thelibertybeat.com. This is Justin Armand with your Liberty Beat for May 6th, 2014. Gold opened today at $1,208, silver at $19.62, and Bitcoin is trading at $432. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from GrowYourOwnGroceries.org, now offering an 8-week course where you can learn to treat the most common family ailments with simple medicines you can grow or easily find. Learn more at GrowYourOwnGroceries.org. And from Bitmain Tech, creators of the newly released Antmine S2 Bitcoin miner, 1 terahash and only 1,000 watts. Order yours today at bitmaintech.com or give them a call at 844-BITMAIN. That's 1-844-248-6246. And now this news. A major decision regarding the role of religion in government. That's what Monday's decision of the United States Supreme Court is being called. The 5-4 vote allows local governments to begin their sessions with sectarian prayers, so long as they are not used to demean other religions or draw converts to any particular faith. According to the New York Times, the legal challenge arose from the city of Greece, New York's use of a chaplain of the month to begin its monthly meetings with the Christian prayer said in distinctly sectarian language. The ruling clears the city of any constitutional violation and allows all cities across the U.S. to use prayers at meetings. No warrant required when searching vehicles in Pennsylvania. The state Supreme Court handed down this decision last week. Lancaster Online is calling the ruling a drastic change in citizens' rights and police powers. The 4-2 decision was made based on an appeal stemming from a 2010 vehicle stop in Philadelphia. Previously, an officer's request to search a vehicle could be refused, meaning that a warrant signed by a judge was needed to proceed. However, the High Court's decision, as outlined in the opinion written by Supreme Court Justice McCaffrey, makes such warrants unnecessary. An anti-abortion law signed by Texas Governor Rick Perry in 2013 has succeeded in closing abortion clinics and restricting abortion access throughout the state. The number of abortion clinics has dwindled from more than 40 in 2011 to just 20 today. Even more are expected to close, with only 6 likely to remain in operation by September. The National Journal reports that in March, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit which covers Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana, upheld the law that led the closings as constitutional. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Voice and Exit, maximizing human flourishing through radical innovation. Tickets on sale now. Get 10% off with promotional code FREEDOM. June 21st at Austin Music Hall. Get yours at voiceandexit.com. And from Affordable Sound, CD and DVD duplication, along with posters and promotional materials. Online at affordablesound.com or give them a call at 512-459-5253. You're listening to The Liberty Beat for May 6th, 2014. Be sure to check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. Oklahoma is now experiencing as many earthquakes as California. Although geologists don't know when or where the next quake will occur, they suspect it might be related to fracking, a method used to extract oil and gas by cracking open underground rock. Experts from the U.S. and Oklahoma Geological Survey Group warn that the risk of a damaging earthquake, one larger than 5.0 magnitude, has increased significantly in the state. This is the first time a warning has ever been issued for a state east of the Rockies. A preliminary report released to Congress by the Government's Accountability Office reveals why the IRS investigated and scrutinized all of tax-exempt Tea Party and other conservative nonprofit groups. The agency failed to audit a single high-value electing large partisan holding $100 million or more in assets. Electing large partisans, otherwise known as ELPs, are business entities with more than 100 partners and more than $100 million in assets. These include large private equity firms, hedge funds, and oil and gas partnerships. None of these groups had their tax returns audited or closed by the IRS from fiscal years 2007 to 2013. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from The Corey Moore Show, live Friday nights 9 p.m. Central Time at CoreyMooreShow.com. And from Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, precious metals at reasonable rates since 1977. Online at rrbi.co. This is Justin Armand reporting with the Liberty Beat. Remember, freeing your mind is freeing our world.
Scientology minister Frank D. Linehan was arrested this morning on 471 charges of molesting Thetans. The popular 56-year-old minister was reportedly taken into custody after an investigation revealed this week that he sexually abused dozens of Thetans in the past year, with many of the ancient alien spirits being as young as 65 million years old.
Church members left these Thetans alone with someone they trusted, and Mr. Linehan clearly violated that trust.
According to police reports, the abuse continued as recently as last week when Linehan forced a 70-million-year-old alien spirit to perform oral sex during a level OT2 solo auditing session. Since the allegations against Linehan surfaced, more and more church members have come forward about Thetan abuse. Despite the church's efforts to recover from the incident, the scandal may alienate a whole generation of Scientologists.
I don't see how they can expect anyone to continue moving up the bridge to total freedom and achieve clear after this.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to bring up anything you want here as we launch into the third hour of the program. Plenty of time for you with your thoughts. We'll continue the psychotic lawyer story that Johnny Ray has been telling. We'll do a recap for those of you just tuning in when we get a chance here in this hour. It's pretty crazy. We'll get to that here in a few moments. With you tonight in the studio, it is Ian.
And Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Let's jump right into your phone call and thoughts. We'll go to Jake in Utah listening to KZNU. Hey, Jake.
Hi. We had started talking yesterday, and I apologize. I called in late. I was meaning to call into the first of your program.
Ah, okay.
We were talking about the prayers at the town meeting in Virginia.
Yep.
And the atheist had called in and said how he was offended that they closed the prayer in the name of Jesus Christ.
Right. And so what was your point on that?
Well, my concern is that, you guys talk about, you want things to be free, you want things to be open and all this, but yet it's okay to restrict against Christians, but it's not okay to restrict against anyone else. If he doesn't like it, then don't listen. It's not like they asked him to offer the prayer. And it's not like they said anyone who is here that is not, that's not going to participate is going to be shunned. Like I was saying yesterday, it's nothing to him. It's nothing more than rants from a lunatic on the street, because it doesn't mean anything to him. And so why does he have to go around saying everyone else needs to change to conform
Well, I
to
think
me?
what it means is, I think what it means to him, and this is, by the way, I forget which town it was, but it was a New York town that they've been doing these monthly benedictions or whatever, these sort of pre-meetings,
These go
pre-city
on in
council
many,
meetings. Yeah, they're not uncommon.
meetings.
And I think that what it means to him is that he feels like one religion is getting preference over others, and he would prefer to not hear any religious invocation at these meetings. That, this is supposed to be a city council meeting. Let's just get to the meeting, please, rather than have the religious ceremony in front of it. What is the necessity of having a religious ceremony in front of a government meeting in the first place?
Well, it's the majority preference.
Well, that's we're supposed to be living in a republic where minorities have rights, and it shouldn't matter if the majority wants to have a particular religion. Establishing a religion within the state is a clear violation of the Constitution, in my understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a state-run religion absolutely is a violation.
So, but having a state-endorsed religion, you're saying, is totally fine. So if there were a bunch of Hindu folk that were living in your area and they just started doing whatever it is that Hindu folk do in front of the city council meetings, you'd be okay with that. If they were in the majority, that'd be fine with you?
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this. So what's going on currently in Oklahoma is they've got a statue of the Ten Commandments out in front of like a courthouse or something like that. And they've been petitioned by the Church of Satan or something like that.
Satanic Temple.
The Satanic Temple to that they're going to put up a statue to Baphomet, which is like this goat god thing with horns and wings, I don't know, and it's going to have children like beseeching the goat god. Do you think that this is cool? I mean, doesn't this sort of lampoon religion to the point that we just don't need any of this stuff anymore?
Well, yeah, and I had given some thought to that. For one, the monument was donated. It didn't cost taxpayers a thing.
It's true.
And
it's so will be the Satanic Monument.
Yeah. Okay. And so now, what it really fundamentally comes down to is what are the teachings of God? Okay. Let me just really oversimplify it. To be kind to other people. And now, what are the teachings of Satan? And this, I don't know. I can't answer that. But I'm not imagining it has anything to do with doing good to others.
Well, you think that the teachings of God are like to be good. I would agree with you. However, I don't think that's contained within the Bible, and I don't think it has much to do with the law as written in like Deuteronomy and that sort of thing. I mean, when you look at the Old Testament, God isn't really talking about being good to people when he's slaughtering everybody in Canaan in order to give the Jews their promised land.
And by the way, there's a lot of misinformation out there about Satanists and what they believe and what they don't believe. And so it would have been best had you just said you don't really know, because you haven't studied Satanism, so you don't really know.
I don't, and that's exactly what I was getting at. That's why I said I don't know.
Yeah, that's
what
he said.
I haven't looked into it, but I would imagine, I do know the beliefs that come from Christianity, and to, like I said, to really oversimplify it, it's be good to your fellow man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't kill him, don't steal from him, treat him kindly, all these things. And so it's like, okay, that's not bad stuff. Now, the Church of Satan, I don't know what they profess, I don't know what they teach, but I know that just taking that from face value, from what I believe about Satan, I really would have a problem with that. If they came to me and they said, well, no, actually the Church of Satan believes in service, and that's our whole fundamental belief structure, I would say, okay, I wouldn't mind supporting that.
But do we need giant bronze statues of goat gods out in front of every courthouse in America? I mean, look, I'm not here saying that we need to change everything. Las Cruces, California is now going to have to be called something else. This is just unacceptable. I'm not going to do that. Corpus Christi is going to have to change its name. I'm not there, but I mean, it kind of feels like, look, tell you what, Take the Ten Commandments statue, put it the American Legion, which is a private thing, and that'll be best for everybody. And we're just not going to have any religious stuff here in the government buildings because,
it's just conflict.
People get all upset about it. They're all activated by it.
Jake, you're apparently fine with it, but a lot of people are very upset by it.
I don't want to hear it. If I go to a town meeting, I don't want somebody else, praying their stuff that I disagree with. I mean, shouldn't I? If some chaplain is going to be up at the front of the room saying some Jesus prayer, shouldn't I be able to just chime in with any old thing I want and try to shout him down?
Okay. Well, now, so hear me out here really quick.
I'm listening.
I know, and I just I was thinking about this. I've had a day to think about it. Now, initially when I was listening to your program, I thought, what are these guys talking about? And I was kind of intrigued. And then when I heard you guys had were kind of supporters of the whole what is it? The Wall Street movement.
Oh, the Occupy movement?
Yes. And then I thought, oh my gosh. But then I still continued to listen. I thought, you know what? I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to hear him out. And then since then, I've kind of opened my mind a little bit. And you guys make some good points. But then one comment that was made yesterday was about, moving to where like-minded people are is your whole point of putting this together. So that you can all be together, have similar beliefs, similar desires, and be together and be left alone, right?
But not force our beliefs on others, which is what the government system allows people to do. It allows people who have the political connections to, in this case, force their religious beliefs on others.
I think Jake is suggesting that the man who, instead of complaining about the prayer, he should leave. He should go to where people are more like him.
But he wanted to attend a town meeting. He lives in that town right now, and he's interested in the process and what's going on there.
I think this really comes down to the set of rules. What do the rules say about doing this? And there's the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York. And these constitutions talk about separation of church and state. And, what does that mean to everybody? It's certainly changed throughout history here in the United States. Massachusetts, at the time of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the signing of the Constitution, had a state religion, and they were clear that it was the intention is the federal government wouldn't lay down a state doctrine, but that the states themselves could do that. But I kind of feel like there's something about evolution here, an evolution of a society. And if we're all going to live together, which seems to be the goal for sort of right-thinking folks, then we're going to have to kind of set some of our religious preferences to the side. They cause conflict, and unneeded conflict, in my opinion.
Jake, I'm glad you called back in about this. I appreciate you taking the time to do that tonight. Glad we had a better chance to really flesh it out to some extent. I appreciate it.
Call back anytime.
Yeah, any old time you want. Appreciate hearing from you. 8:55. By the way, not only did I attend the Occupy, I also attended the Tea Parties. So what does that make me? 8:55. 450 free. Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-970-6156. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-970-6156 now.
Hi, this is Mark Edge, host of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the very economic engine that powers this country. With a printing press tethered to Washington politicians, bureaucrats, and central bankers, how can we put our trust in paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Come see gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold. With Washington, D.C. delivering more debt and printed promises, common sense tells us The future of the trend is obvious. Everyone listening should visit gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938. I trust Midas Resources for my gold, silver, platinum, and you can too. Again, I want you to have this book, and it's free. It's gold.freetalklive.com or 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308. Ross Ulbricht was arrested by the FBI in 2013 and charged with victimless crimes in relation to allegedly operating the Bitcoin-based Silk Road black market. He has been in a prison cell awaiting trial ever since. If he did it, he's a hero for making the black market a safer place. If he did not, he's a man wrongfully accused. Either way, if you love freedom and want to end the war on drugs, Ross and his family need your support. You can learn more and help fund his defense at freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You want to talk about religious invocations prior to town meetings? That was the last topic on the table. We'll still come back to Johnny Ray's story here in
Just
a little bit
left.
About this attorney, this psychotic attorney who is using all kinds of illegal tactics to go after his wife in a divorce case. We'll get to that, and also want to let you know about cashintocoins.com. You've heard about Bitcoins. Glenn Beck was talking about Bitcoins the other day. I saw a clip that somebody posted on Facebook, on YouTube, and it sounded like he kind of got it. Like, you know, they had some misinformation, some stuff they didn't really understand, like some of the more technical details and how it kind of works or whatever. But it's getting out there. People are talking about Bitcoins. And
he said that he would absolutely invest in Bitcoin.
You saw the clip then. Yes, he did.
Well, I posted the clip. But that he hadn't, and like his friend is like, yes, I had Bitcoins, but I don't have them now, or something. It was all sort of very confusing to me.
I emailed his producers and suggested that they have either me or Stephanie or somebody on the show as an expert to discuss the issue. I don't know if they'll get back to me, but it's worth a shot. Anyway, you can go and get Bitcoins right now. If you've got the wallet, you can go to cashintocoins.com and learn about how you can – simple instructions, easy, safe, fast, legal, and inexpensive, and customer service is their top priority. You can turn your cash via money order, check, or wire transfer into Bitcoins, and the rates are outstanding. Plus, you can even donate some of the transfer fee to charity, and if you want to save big time on the rates, you can get zero transfer fee by ordering less than $40. So great way to kind of get your feet wet in the world of Bitcoin. Go to cashintocoins.com, order less than $40 worth. There's no fee. You go over $40 and it's very, very reasonable. I think 3% the last time I looked. Cashintocoins.com. I have used it, by the way, and it works well. So let's go on here. Johnny Ray with the story from William Norman Grigg at the Pro Libertate blog. He's told us a story about a divorcing couple, one of whom is an attorney. The male is an attorney, and he's a psycho. Apparently, there's video evidence of him being absolutely insane and violent, and apparently he's been abusive towards his wife and his daughter at times in the past. He managed to acquire the assistance of a sheriff's deputy, who went to the woman's house in question where she was being kept in a supposed safe house. He identified the location for the attorney. He then went to that location, raided the house with some of his sheriff's buddies, and took her computers, then illegally delivered the computers to the husband. And while the woman was being held in a jail cell, the husband apparently went into the home, which was likely left unlocked by the police. Because, by the way, when the police raid your house and you get arrested, they're under no obligation to lock your door. You're lucky if they'll even close it. So
in a lot of cases, how do you lock a door?
Usually you can pop that little thing on the bottom and a lot of at least the bottom side of the door, the little push button thing. Anyway, so apparently husband walks in during the time she's in jail, takes a black book of hers that happens to have computer passwords in it, which of course is one of the problems with always having to have a bunch of different passwords. There are some online password managers that can help solve that.
Sure, but when they steal your, in a lot of cases, if they steal the laptop, then you're in bad shape again.
No, your online password manager is online, so your passwords are stored and encrypted online. Like LastPass is one of them.
Sure, but if you leave LastPass so that it's convenient to use, like when you have one of these, these things, it's.
If you're logged in, you mean, it could
right.
be a problem? Yeah, you can auto set a setting to auto log out, but maybe anyway, it was just a suggestion for anybody that's got a little black book of passwords. That is a security problem. Unless that thing's in a safe, it's a security problem. So there are solutions for that. Johnny Ray, did I appropriately catch us up on the story?
Yes, you only neglected the description of Detective Yova.
Oh, you were beginning to tell us about this Detective Yova and how he apparently shot a man
away with murder
for jaywalking in wherever it was that he was.
California.
A detective. L.A. He's in L.A. That's right. This is Los Angeles.
In his report, Yova dutifully recited from the police officer's catechism of self-exoneration.
Shot him in the back, by the way, as he was running away.
Yes. Claiming that the unusual behavior of Cuevas and his friends led him to believe that they were, quote, setting him up for an ambush, despite the fact that he was the one who initiated the contact. When Yova demanded that Cuevas show him his hands, he quickly turned his upper body, which prompted the high-strung officer to shoot at him. As Cuevas fled, he stopped long enough to turn and blade his body at the officer, who fired several more rounds. After Cuevas fell, Yova continued. The victim could be seen aggressively moving his shoulders from side to side while screaming, "You bleeping shot me." Honest and rational people would describe this behavior as writhing in agony.
Yeah. He's aggressively moving his shoulders.
As someone deeply indoctrinated in the officer safety uber alles dogma and given authorization to lie, Yova insisted that his victim's death throes left him, quote, in fear for his life.
God,
what
so
else would they do, right?
He had to shoot him even more.
Which supposedly meant he was justified in firing 2 to 3 rounds from his service weapon at point-blank range.
To a man on the ground.
Wow. Who'd already been shot.
Yova's incident report claimed that Cuevas pulled a handgun from his waistband. A gun was allegedly found at the scene, but Cuevas' fingerprints weren't on the weapon, and there's nothing in the surveillance video corroborating Yova's claim that Cuevas ever reached for it or threatened him in any way.
Wonder where that gun came from.
Additionally,
hard to say.
You don't think the cop that would illegally raid somebody's house and confiscate computers and then illegally turn them over to a husband who's trying to go through a divorce
would
he
carry
wouldn't
around
plant a gun.
A bunch of weapons that he's picked up from past encounters with criminals that he can just drop at crime scenes.
My dad was a cop, and I'd heard stories about police officers carrying Saturday Night Specials in ankle holsters so that they could just sort of reach down and drop them.
Wow. More from the story in moments.
Additionally, the firearm provided to the family's attorney as part of civil discovery was not the silver-handled gun supposedly found on the scene. The video doesn't...
That's a problem. Whoa, that's my good Saturday Night Special. Here's a junker for you guys to use.
The video doesn't show that he makes a threat to the officer, insisted Mayra Murillo, the mother of Cuevas' son, who was a newborn when his father was killed. He's running. He gets shot in the back and he falls down, and the officer stands over him and continues to shoot him.
God.
7 months after Yova killed Cuevas, the LA County DA's office, presiding over the familiar liturgy of institutional immunity, ruled that the killer acted in lawful self-defense when he shot a fleeing man in the back and then administered the coup de grace at intimate range. Last September, the county paid $875,000 to settle a $5 million wrongful death suit brought on behalf of the victim's son.
Huh.
No.
So there was a suit that cleared this man's name. The family got money out of this, but yet the officer himself was cleared of any wrongdoing.
No punitive action was taken against.
But you know what it costs to try to fire one of these officers? I mean, these unions are incredibly powerful. The city's just trying to figure out what's the cheapest way to handle this. All right, give the family a mill, and let this nut do whatever he does. Who cares? It's like, nobody ever brings these suits anyway.
No punitive action was taken against Detective Yova, which left him in a position to terrorize an innocent woman on behalf of her estranged and allegedly abusive husband, which is precisely the kind of service reasonable people expect from the degenerate racket called law enforcement.
Why wouldn't he expect he'd get away with this? So far he has. There haven't been any consequences for him on this case yet. I mean, if the guy can get away with shooting a jaywalker in the back, then he probably can get away with whatever he wants to get away with. More on the way here. You can take control, share your thoughts on Free Talk Live.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, listen carefully. Sweeping changes to IRS policies will help more people than ever eliminate their tax debts once and for all. And now I can help you reduce or eliminate your tax debts and end your tax nightmare. Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I've helped thousands of people reduce and eliminate tax debts they couldn't pay, and after more than 30 years of experience dealing with the IRS, I can tell you there's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. And with the IRS's new policies, it's easier than ever to put your tax debt behind you once and for all. Call now at 800-346-6829 to learn how I can help you. You know your IRS debt will not go away by itself, but you don't have to live in fear anymore. Call 800-346-6829. Learn how I can help you eliminate wage and bank levies, release tax liens, and negotiate a settlement with the IRS that will put your tax nightmare behind you forever. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to taxhelponline.com. That's taxhelponline.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
There's a treasure hunt going on at mathgate.info, a Bitcoin treasure hunt. You can find Bitcoins by proving theorems. So, learn some logic, do some math, find some Bitcoins. Even better, mathgate.info is designed to be used anonymously. So, connect to mathgate.info through Tor, prove some theorems, find some anonymous Bitcoins. Don't wait, others are already searching for the Bitcoins. Go to mathgate.info today and join the treasure hunt. There are anonymous Bitcoins to be had for the taking at mathgate.info.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, you know what I mean by
elevator speech. It's the short version, saying just enough to make the listener want to listen more. Even if you're not a job seeker, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. So to cut through the clutter, choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Instead of saying, due to the fact that, say, because. And avoid mispronunciations. Say jewelry, not jewelry, which could offend. Undoubtedly, you don't want to say undoubtedly. And whatever you do, never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Bring up anything here, toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Mark, you and I got interviewed today for the upcoming documentary, The 100 Reasons film. I'm expecting we're going to have editor Bo Davis on with us here at some point this week to talk a little bit more about that film and what's going to be happening with it. What is the vision for it? I'm excited about it. I've signed on as an executive producer. We'll clue you in more. You can go to 101 or 101reasonsfilm.com to learn more about it.
You can go to blockchain.com in order to get a free app that allows you, if you've got a business, sort of a bricks and mortar business, a physical business, to accept Bitcoins at your business. At blockchain.com, the app is right there. You can download it to your smartphone. It's for Android from the Google Play Store, or a tablet, whatever's good for you, whatever you're using in your business. And you can accept Bitcoins safely, securely, and for free. There are no terms of service. Imagine this for a second. No ID requirement of any kind. You just go to blockchain.com, download the app from the Google Play Store, and get started. Zero fees from blockchain.com. This is fascinating. Now, blockchain.com is a spin-off of blockchain.info, which is
sister site.
Yeah, this is the largest Bitcoin site out there, and you can certainly get a wallet anybody can get a wallet for Bitcoins there at blockchain.info. What the blockchain.com app allows you to do is to sort of give limited access to a wallet for employees, because you don't want employees to have necessarily access to your Bitcoin account. So this is a great step forward, and it really makes it possible for little businesses to accept Bitcoin at blockchain.com.
Okay, still to come here, Johnny Ray's Game of the Week. We barely touched on it last week, so hopefully we can get a little more in-depth this week. Plus, you said you brought in more than one Johnny Ray, so we'll see how we do with that.
Yeah.
Coming up here in a bit. But I did promise the Agorist road crew story, and we were sort of talking earlier about the idea of agorism, which is this supposedly revolutionary tactic to end the state by outcompeting it in the marketplace. Working underground first and sort of coming out and eventually competing with the government services openly and beating them.
And a great example of that is Bitcoin. So
that's true.
Bitcoin is whether stated or not, is an agorist, and I believe it to be an agorist project where a currency was created to compete with government currencies that is superior because it exists in the marketplace, and it does. And this is the winner of the Agorist lottery, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mark. Bitcoin still has a lot of growing to do, but it is already a better product than the government currency for a variety of reasons. It's decentralized. It can't be stopped by the state, which is the most important thing here. Usually an agorist operation is, somebody cooking food for someone else or doing some other thing that involves a human being in a a specific place at a specific time, doing something that is, not licensed, or, they haven't gotten a permission slip from the government to do that. And that's what we're dealing with here with the Agorist road crew, because unfortunately,
most of the cases, that stuff's just cute.
So in this case, Tacoma, Washington, the story is from king5.com. The city of Tacoma plans to prosecute anyone caught making a rogue crosswalk after 5 popped up recently. The group behind them, Citizens for a Safer Tacoma, believes breaking the law is a risk that they're willing to take to save lives. According to Tacoma police, traffic incidents have spiked in the area, and at least 15 members of this group have been hit by cars. They went to the city to ask for help, but they were turned away and are now taking matters into their own hands. If the city does nothing, we will, said a spokesman who wouldn't go on camera because he didn't want to be targeted. The spokesman
and he would be.
Says their cause is important. He said, none of us want to go to jail, but we're more dedicated to the safety of citizens than we are to the law. And so they're going around and painting their own crosswalks in various places where they feel like a crosswalk should be, I guess. And that's illegal. You're going out and adding your own iconography to the sidewalks and the roads is some sort of violation.
I wonder about this. I find crosswalks to be largely annoying.
Oh, I agree. How is it making anyone safer to have a crosswalk anyway?
I don't know.
Well, because the driver sees that there's yellow paint in the road,
So
and
they'd
it's
be
a
more
likely place for people to cross, so they
Okay.
might be more careful.
I'll give you that one.
Look, there in New Hampshire, there are all kinds of crosswalks crossing roads like 101, which is a pretty major highway going east to west in the state. There are crosswalks on this thing, and you never have an expectation that anybody's going to cross them. So therefore, they just drift into the background, just like all the other lines and dashes and blops on the road. And I disagree with this with that assertion. And what the thing is that, look, if you're crossing the road, I think the crosswalks are for women with children and baby buggies. Old people that can't move very, very fast, young children whose hands are being held by their parents, things like that. But, I as an adult, I can get across the road without your paint, without your lights, and without these things. I can do that without, you don't need traffic. You don't need to stop for me. Certainly there are places in this world where if you didn't stop the traffic, you'd never be able to cross the street. But in New Hampshire, this doesn't happen. I don't know what it's like in Tacoma, and I don't know, I don't know the specifics on these things, but I just don't think the paint on the road when it comes to crossing the street is that valuable.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to derail you here, Ian, but I wanted to add that Keene, where we live, has got a very pedestrian-friendly policy about crossing the street.
That's a state policy. You have to yield to pedestrians in crosswalks, state law.
And speaking personally, I've always felt it was pretty backward to elevate
the pedestrian.
The pedestrian.
No, I totally agree.
The car rules the road, and you just ruin things for everybody when you try and level the playing field.
Yeah, I agree. When I moved here, it was so bizarre. People stopping for me when I would try to cross the street. It was annoying. I was frustrated by it. I wanted the people to keep going. Like, look, hey, I'm just a pedestrian here. I don't have to be somewhere fast. You are probably going somewhere. So that was the feeling that I had. Like, why are you stopping?
I'm looking down the street for a gap between the cars where I'm going to be able to cross without it making a difference to the traffic. And while I'm looking down there, I see there's a car that's stopped right next to me. And they're waiting for me to cross.
I've got to say, I find it annoying. I mean, these aggressive, stoppers.
Aggressive stoppers.
I'm just expecting
them to come. They just don't want a ticket, man. That's all.
I don't think that's what it is at all. I think they're just so darned nice. I expect them to get out of their car, grab me by the hand, and walk me across the street. Please stop. Please stop doing this for me. I was just standing
I've
here.
gotten used to it over time. I have gotten used to it. I usually wave whenever they stop. I wave to say thank you. And
I do too, but you can't even get too close to the crosswalk. Like
or
if
they'll
you're,
stop. Yeah.
Right. If you're, wandering around, looking at the scenery, looking at the tops of the buildings or talking on your cell phone or whatever you're doing, if you get within 3 feet of that crosswalk, somebody's going to stop for you and try to wave you across the road. I don't want to go over there.
Yeah, and it gives some of these crosswalk walkers an unrealistic
expectation of
safety,
being able to cross. Yeah, we've seen it happen more than once where
people just right
walk
out there.
Won't even look. They'll just walk right out.
Yeah.
Like you're going to pay attention. Like you are paying attention. The person with the death trap, this 2,000-pound ball of metal hurtling down the road, that you're not like doing something else or looking out at whatever.
And that also gives people this, to some extent they get sort of mean about, whoa, you didn't, I might have actually, I didn't actually have to break my stride, but you should have stopped anyway. Like that. I like to time traffic as best I can, and that goes when I'm in a car or when I'm walking. I don't want the cars to stop for me because I can get across the street myself. Thanks very much.
So here's the real kicker of this story. Every time a rogue crosswalk shows up in Tacoma, the city spends $1,000 to get rid of it. Now remember, this group, they asked the city to add some crosswalks. What do you think it costs to add a crosswalk?
Probably about $1,000.
$1,000. So now they're spending $1,000 on each rogue crosswalk that this group puts up in order to erase those crosswalks, instead of actually just putting up the crosswalks.
It's crazy.
More coming up here in moments on Free Talk Live. You take control.
All right, hold on. We got to interrupt the regularly scheduled stuff for just a minute. I've got to tell you about this because it's weird. It'll make sense. What if I told you that eating this one weird spice could actually help you reverse diabetes? I know, it's crazy, right? Well, if you or somebody you care about has diabetes or prediabetes or easy for me to say, metabolic syndrome, you've got to check out this video. It's free. You may have heard about this. People who've tried it say that they've been able to normalize their blood sugar, stop taking their diabetes meds, and their doctors are all for it. So what is it? What's behind this? Well, the company says it's a natural drug-free approach to reversing diabetes, and they say that it works in as little as 4 weeks, and it all starts with this one weird kitchen spice you probably have in your kitchen right now. So you should check out the free video and see for yourself. It's at WeirdSpice55.com. So write that down. It's WeirdSpice55.com. WeirdSpice55.com.
You've been lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. My name is Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my Inc. magazine best-selling book, Safe Money Millionaire, because Wall Street's 401k and other investment plans have failed millions of Americans. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash several years ago, I said enough. Since then, I've discovered an IRS-approved way to safely grow my money up to 12 to even 17%, cut taxes dramatically, but also have my money protected when the next crash comes. Call now to talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to potentially build $1 million tax-free retirement income. Get potential 12 to 17% returns and never lose when the next crash hits. Call 888-885-8820 and discover this tool that people like Walt Disney and J.C. Penney used to safely grow rich. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling. Call 888-885-8820. 888-885-8820. Again, that's 888-885-8820.
Free Talk Live.
Most people think you have to seek out a God for finding meaning in life, but really meaning comes from your awareness that your next move will have a consequence to you, whether good or bad.
The meaning is created by the person having the experience.
It's inside
Experiencer.
Your awareness that your next move will have a consequence for your positive or negative view of the world. That's where all meaning comes from.
And I fully believe that it's your interpretation of your experiences, how you decide to act as a result of the circumstances that surround you, that will ultimately decide your fate here. As far as, will you have a pleasant experience or will it be a hellacious one? I believe that
I believe in heaven and hell, but I believe that they exist every moment. Like you get to choose heaven and hell, and the people that do bad things experience hell because doing bad things results in bad stuff.
But you can always choose otherwise. You can begin at any moment to start over again.
Sinners can be redeemed.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Have you ever wanted to move to the land of Lib-Pair? Libertarian paradise, where there's fun for everyone that doesn't initiate force on others, fun for the kids, parties for the adults, buy and sell in silver or Bitcoin, scenic hikes and gun shoots, speeches to educate us all. The Porcupine Freedom Festival is Lib-Pair in the White Mountains of New Hampshire for a week this summer, June 22nd to 29th. Get your tickets now before there's no more room. PorcFest, the event of a lifetime. PorcFest.com. That's PorcFest.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, bringing up what you want. In these remaining moments, there's enough time for you at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Join us on our website. All the features there we give to you. Those other talk show hosts, they want to charge you for accessing their sites. You get archives, you get interactive methods for other, contacting other Free Talk Live listeners. There's our chat room, the bulletin board system. If you're a Free Talk Live amplifier, you get access to the special Free Talk Live amplifier Facebook group, as well as the AMP-only forum, AMP-only phone lines, and more. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. The perks aren't the only reason to amp the show. AMP is advertise, market, and promote. It's your $5 a month being invested into Free Talk Live to help us get on more radio stations across the country, to bring new internet listeners on board by doing internet advertising through, say, Google AdWords, which we're doing right now, where we want people who are just searching for generic talk radio to find Free Talk Live so they can discover the message of freedom, because you just can't do that with most of the rest of the talk radio shows in the business. So you can help us out, help us get into more ears around the world by amping the show and getting perks for yourself. Just go to amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com. And I know that Johnny Ray, you're in the AMP group on the Facebook group, and I believe there was some discussion there about people maybe getting an email address from you and playing games with you, playing online games, because you like to do the Johnny Ray Game of the Week, and some of them are multiplayer.
I would love that. I'd be delighted to play with anybody who wants to play.
So what do you have for us this week? Johnny Ray, last week you touched on one game, and I didn't really feel like we had enough time to really explain it. I know there was another game you were really hot on this week, but can we just jump back to the game from last week and recap?
The game you were referring to is called Shattered Planet. It's by Kit Fox Games, I think. Yeah, Kit Fox Games, Shattered Planet. It's a real-time turn-based hybrid is how I describe it. Exploration roguelike. So the real-time turn-based hybrid part is that whenever you're playing the game, you're on a little grid map. You're exploring. The purpose of the game is to explore. You go out and explore, you map things, and you
fight things on the way?
Sure, there's loads of killing. And every time you kill a new person...
What else is exploring, anyway?
Whenever you kill a new beast, you add it to your collection, and
that's right. It's not sentient. It doesn't have a family. It doesn't love its children. It's a beast.
They're little crablets.
What do you do with the collection of beasts? What do you do with those?
Yeah, all I've done with it is just open it up and look at it and enjoy it.
You can't put them to use? You can't fight with the beasts?
Excellent question, Ian. The answer is yes. You can. In certain situations, you will be able to dominate the will of one of these nasty little beasts, and he'll follow you around and fight for you. But so you're exploring in these. They're hovering in air. It's like what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure, but slices of land that's hovering in the air, and you go from level to level. But what you're looking at is a collection of it's a top-down perspective, and you're walking around on a grid, little squares that are connected by bridges hovering in air. And what I'm enjoying about this real-time turn-based hybrid is the way it works is you're looking at your guy, and you can touch anywhere on the map, and he'll walk to that place.
Okay.
But every square that he moves takes a turn, even though it doesn't say turn, end turn, end turn, end turn. He just goes straight to the spot. But that takes a turn, and all the beasts that are also out there, they're also moving around for every
With
time
each
you
move, they move. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're
Do you
relatively,
see the beasts when they're walking around?
Yes.
Okay.
So if they're in an unexplored part of the map, there are these sinister red eyes walking around. So if you're relatively safe, then you can just walk around with impunity. It's fine. But then once you start getting a little closer to the bad guys, then you start thinking a little more tactically and
Don't
slowing
click too
it
far
down.
away. Click closer to your guy to move just one space, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and you try and exploit what their habits are. So basically, when they see you, they kind of make a beeline for you. So so you attract their attention, and then maybe back up a pace, and they'll move right to you. They'll have no movement left. You smack them, and they're dead, and you move on. But the point of the game is the content.
And it's RPG, right? So you're gaining levels, you're gaining experience.
You're ultimately doomed to die. You're a clone, and your
Really?
only job is to explore. And when you die, then you get cloned and go back down again. While you're down there, you're collecting. This doesn't make a lot of sense. You collect scrap metal, and the scrap metal you turn into strength and wits and hit points.
That's what I do with scrap metal.
And you keep
Are you
that.
a robot? It looks kind of like, I'm looking at a picture here. You look kind of robotic.
You can be. You can get a robot skin.
I see.
So you can change your stats, you can improve your stats, and they will and those little improvements will carry with you. The real way to conquer the game and get as far as you can is to get some great equipment and go down and use that equipment. When you die, you lose all the equipment.
That was going to be my question. Okay, so the goal is to see how far you can get in the game before you die.
Yes, and it's there's
Because you will die at some point. Is what you're saying.
Right.
Does that mean the game is unbeatable? Does it just continue to scale up in difficulty over time, or is it just that you just haven't gotten through it?
I haven't gotten far enough or learned enough about my game of the week to answer that question.
Now, is that because you've been distracted by this other game of the week?
No, not really. I've been playing Hearthstone. Lots and lots of Hearthstone.
You have loved that Hearthstone. You have been talking about Hearthstone now for weeks.
It's addictive, and I like card games.
Okay, and it's multiplayer, right?
Yeah, and it's got a huge community, so it's never it's from Blizzard.
There's always somebody else to play.
Yeah.
All right, so move on to game number 2 here of the Johnny Ray's Games of the Week in this case.
Sure. Okay. It's
the first one was Shattered Planet, and I presume it's on both iPhone and Android.
From Kit Fox Games, yes. Shattered Planet. I'm gonna give you a listy, and you can pick your favorite.
You pick one, Johnny Ray. I don't know.
All right. Okay. All right.
You're the game of the week guy.
The one that I'm really most excited about is Draw Something. It's a social media platform game. It's from Zynga. Zynga, they're the masters of that social media gaming experience.
Okay.
I believe that Zynga...
Words for Friends. They did Words for Friends.
Yeah, and Farmville too, I think. So
they're rich.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Draw Something, I just started, so I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it's similar to Pictionary. It's a drawing game.
Multiplayer?
Yes, it's multiplayer. You will... you open up the menu for the game, and it'll say, okay, these people, these friends of yours, they're looking for a game.
I see.
So you pick one of them, and then you pick a category.
You can't go against strangers. It's just people in your friends list or whatever?
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, got it. Draw something.
You pick the guy, yeah, and then it'll give you, and then you pick what you want to draw for them. Certain concepts that are difficult to illustrate, like love, maybe you will get more points for that. And then you draw it. You draw whatever it is. If it's a pumpkin, or if it's love, or if it's the Federal Reserve, or if it's pirates. You draw it, you send it to the person, then they try and guess what it is that you drew.
So there's no timer. Is there a timer? Because in Pictionary, there's that timer.
No, there's no timer.
Okay, so you just take as much time to draw what you want to draw.
Right, and what I have available to me is lines of various thickness. I have an eraser. I'm doing all this on a touch screen. I'm really curious to see what I can do with a touch screen, because I can't do anything at all with pen and paper or anything. So if I want to, see if I can take my perspective of the world and turn it into something recognizable. The color palette I have is limited, but as you play and you earn points, then you can buy new colors. You start out with about 200.
Roy G. Biv.
You start out with about 300 coins, and a color palette will cost about that much. So I bought the fall color palette because I thought about buying spring because it's spring now, but I thought, well, I'll hedge or I'll jump ahead a little bit. I'll be ready for when fall comes.
Now, okay, so you send the picture to the friend.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
The friend is supposed to guess what it is. How does the game determine? Do you have to ascertain whether they were correct or not, or does the game know whether they were correct or not on its own?
The game will know what it is. The game knows.
So the game gives you draw love, and you draw a heart, and they type in love, and the game knows that they were right.
Well, all I've done is drawn. What did I draw? I drew a fridge.
Mm-hmm.
I drew a bum, and I drew something else that escapes me right now. And then I sent it to those people. I'm waiting for them to respond.
They have not responded.
Yeah.
Instead of drawing a bum, can you just write bum and see what people guess?
Seems like it takes the fun out of it, but yeah, good question. This is working the system. It's good to know the rules.
Sorry, I'm always going to try to figure out how to cheat your little game.
Well, the idea is you don't want them to guess right, or is it a good thing that they guess it right?
I can draw
have to
something
assume
that you can't
that
guess.
you want them to guess what it is.
You do want them, okay.
You'd have to. There'd have to be what it is, because I can always draw something that you can't win. You can't guess.
Right? Is this
my
competitive?
bum was he had a sign, but the sign just had like Galactic on it. Well, you couldn't understand what it was.
In Pictionary, it's competitive. There are teams. That doesn't sound like the case with this game.
I think this is more for fun than competition.
You'll have to give us an update when somebody gets back to you on this, since
All
we're
right.
just barely starting on Draw Something. We'll see you tomorrow night at freetalklive.com. It's Johnny Ray's Game of the Week.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me about my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
Stop the insanity of voting for the same old abusers. Declare your independence from the two-party system and join the New Hampshire Liberty Party today at nhliberty.info.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Peace News Now is next after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates online at thelibertybeat.com. This is Justin Armand with your Liberty Beat for May 6th, 2014. Gold opened today at $1,208, silver at $19.62, and Bitcoin is trading at $432. Support for the Liberty